Oh boy. Hello. 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 Testing. 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 Let's see. I guess I should post in the Discord as well. Posting at everyone. Yes, everyone. Good afternooning. Say it back. That'll do. I'll just wait a second. I'm just going to wait patiently, speak into my mic until my millions of viewers show up. I do wonder. I haven't looked at the news today really. So I don't know if I know last night they voted for cloture. But I don't know if did they do the shutdown vote last night? I don't know. I wasn't following after that. I watched the cloture vote. I watched some of it and then it paused for an hour and I got a notification saying that the government was set to reopen, but I don't know if they voted. I assume they did. I'm sure someone will tell me. Or maybe I'll Google it. But how are we doing? It is indeed Monday, November 10th, the 10th of November, in the year of our Lord, 2025. And you have found yourself on the most radical stream on the internet. How does it feel? How does it feel? Hey, Garuda Legends. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Is the government shutdown over? I want me to find out. No. Still no. Good in my opinion. Well, that's a good position to hold. So the Senate advanced a short-term funding bill and could end the shutdown later this week. That's not now. The shutdown is at day 41 and services remain disrupted. Well, that's less good. I've been saying, whenever we've talked about this for the past few weeks, I've been saying that there's got to come a certain point where the shutdown, the Democrats holding their ground is perhaps doing more harm than good. I don't know that we were there yet, but I figured that day would come. I know I was watching Pisco last night, and he's arguing that there was no good reason for the Dems to give in. I don't know if that's true. I think it was looking bad on Republicans. I think it was clear to most that Donald Trump was actively withholding the benefits and stuff, or is actively withholding these benefits. But Garuda says, sorry I missed your last lifespan. Well, don't worry. I'm still on my first lifespan. But I appreciate it. Good point, Nightbot. I guess we can still do Spirit in the Capitol then. Should we? While we wait for people to pile in. I can get some water and get ready for the stream. I just kind of dived in. Might be a good opportunity for one more hopefully one of the last times that we have to play Spirit in the Capitol. But I'm going to throw this on while I go get some water, and you guys can sound off in the chat about how you're doing and how excited you are. Garuda says, I am an anarchist. Basically, people can because I am super neutral. Okay.
Clock strikes midnight, lights go low. DC's frozen, but the bills still grow. Checks don't clear, rent comes due. Working without pay, what are we supposed to do? Now the dome's just empty halls. Spirit Halloween put up their walls. Rubber masks where the law should be. Selling costumes of democracy. Promises fade in the Capitol fight. Families can't wait for a deal overnight. Insulin costs more than rent in this town. Ghosts of a shutdown haunt all around. Shut it down, but we still carry on. Hearts beat louder when the checks are gone. Voices rise like a protest song. Spirit in the Capitol can't shut us down. And vampire teeth cover the cracks in the marble beneath. A house of masks, a senate of bones, selling tricks while we need loans. Premiums rise, Medicaid falls, but they're busy hanging cobwebs in the halls. Ghost lights flicker, the truth gets blurred when the people are props and the law's just a word. Promises fade in the Capitol fight. Freebies can't wait for a deal overnight. We're not afraid of the threats they sound, even when the spirit shop takes the town. Still carry on. Hearts beat louder when the checks are gone. Voices rise like a protest song. Spirit in the Capitol can't shut us down. Yeah, Hauser's not a costume, not a mask, not a game, but they swap it for a cape in a plastic flame. Back pays promise, but the rent won't wait. Contractors cut off while the shelves inflate. Skeleton crew runs the nation's floor, while Spirit Halloween sets up shop in the core. This is cosplay power, seasonal lies, but the people are the ones who will never disguise. Shut it down, but we still carry on. Hearts beat louder when the checks are gone. Voices rise like a protest song. Spirit in the Capitol can't shut us down. Scars, but it won't define. The people hold the power, the streets are mine. Every mask fades, every costume's done. Still we carry on till the work is won. Can't shut us down. Can't shut us down.
Eva says 6 foot is short. That's not true. I'm 6 foot. I'm not short. At least I don't feel short. I mean, isn't the average height for men like 5'8", something like that? So 6 foot's like definitionally tall. I mean, it's short compared to like really, really tall people. Denizen says, like button smash from both of my accounts. Thank you for committing like fraud on my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. I did the same thing for Joe Biden both times. Even when I was voting for Kamala Harris, I was voting for Joe Biden multiple times. But yeah, I opened up a StreamYard. So Garuda, if you have 2 minutes, I'll give you maybe a little more than 2 minutes. But what do you have to say? What do you have to say, Garuda? And I mean, I guess anyone else who wants to hop on, might as well. Might as well just set up an early panel. Why not? Why not, right? Ditso, you can come up too. You want to talk about human rights? I also, to be fair, I was asked on that same panel to define human rights, and I was like, I'll just outsource it to the UN's definition. 6'4" plus, fair enough. Whatever. My girlfriend's 5'3", so I'm not worried about it. Denizen beat Garuda to the punch. Denizen, how are you doing?
Yay, I'm on the Radical Coder Show live.
You are indeed, and so is Garuda Legends. Welcome, both of you.
Hello.
Greetings, gentlemen, greetings.
So I have to turn my camera out because there we go. Can you hear me, my brothers?
We sure can.
Or my women, or whoever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. What do you have to say, Garuda?
All I want to say is like I've been like, is like okay. So you want me, women want me to like astral project myself into like understanding what men are? It was like, look, first I'm a romantic. You don't have to understand it because. So the concept of what going on is just like, how can we have love on earth? Because I just did like multiple kung fu moves, and it's like I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna get beat up. But if I do get beat up, I want to. If a woman beat me up or a man beat me up, I would just be like respect, and I would do. I would never. I would. So, what do you think your opinion is?
Okay. I feel like there was like a few things there. You said something about being romantic, and then you said something about getting beaten up by a man or a woman. You would respect them if they beat you up. Is that did I hear that right?
Okay, so we could often that bring back the fact that it's just like a lot of women blame me for being a romantic man, but a lot of men are not romantic. They're just like, huh. And then multiple Rolodex women. I just like I want to have one woman who love me, but the thing is like they like men who are just like be basically just like our PMP.
Yeah. So you're saying that the women that you would go for, they're going for men who are dating a bunch of people instead of like being romantic and going after like one girl. Is that right?
Well, I say I will never judge a woman how much woman she has, but it just like if I talk to her because I have a good personality and I'm smarter than most people. But you see, the thing is like women want to pretend. And I was like, oh, I'm like I was like with a good man. Is like what good men like me get ignored, but women is like oh, it's like a waff the delicious one, whatever do you want to call it, and then just like they have like pimps and just like men who would treat them horribly, and we getting subjugated as good men, so we could never win. Do you accept this as true?
I mean, I think there's a lot of guys who feel the same way you do. That's for sure.
Why do you think that is?
They're asking me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do think that there are a lot of women who are like, you know, on like various guys' rosters, I guess. But like, I think that also goes kind of both ways, more and more as time goes on. That there are girls that have like a roster of guys. Why do I think it is? I mean, it's hard to say. There's probably a lot of different reasons. I think that like women increasingly or well, I don't know if I'd say increasingly now, but like over the past like 30 years or so, and maybe longer, are, you know, just feeling more like feeling like less social pressure to not just go out and enjoy sexual relations, you know, and you know, maybe they're less likely to just settle down. But there are also a lot of guys who are dating multiple women who, you know, each of those women might want to be the one woman that he's dating. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of like being descriptive about it. I don't know about the root of these issues. I mean, if we can even call them issues, I don't know if those are like bad things. I don't know if I'd say any of these things are inherently bad, except for that like they're bad for people who are not getting what they want out of these relationships. But I would encourage those people to talk to different people, you know?
See, the thing is, like, I understand what you're saying because women don't want like good men like me because like I'm like aggressively romantic. But the thing is, just like you want a man who just like oh like yeah, I have like a weapon, and also too like the moment you come next to me, I'm gonna smack you into oblivion. But I feel like sometimes women want a man to hit them rather than I can't hit a woman because I'm a good man. So I think this is a complex between women would never admit that they want a bad boy rather than a good man. When just like, no, hold on, I want to take you to a picnic, and just like, because I want to eat food, and like also we good men like the like Flash is like, what? Sorry, I'll be back, and like, ah! It's like I had to save Earth, and hit like whoop. So
They want you to be that way with everyone else except them. Right? So you got to be dangerous, but tame for them. A woman doesn't want you to slap her around.
Yeah,
But
sure. Yeah, I was gonna say.
the
I was gonna say
fear-
that's important. Important to know.
Yeah.
Women don't want to be hit. Like, I mean, there are maybe a couple of women, but like I mean, a very
The
small
fear of
percentage
how
people are
powerful you
interested in
are.
that, you know.
And that you could turn it on her. That could be a turn on. But
that's
that
absolutely true because I don't think I could like if a woman start like getting mad at me for some like illogical reason, I don't think I could hit her back because I actually wanted to do is I have just like escape because I don't want to be a one person just like Falcon punch. It's like you hit me, but you didn't even want to talk to me. Falcon punch.
Ironically,
No, I could never see myself
But,
hitting
but
a
the
woman.
thing is, no. But the thing is, women don't understand that. Like men like me won't do it, and they use like, oh, poking me and just like gaslighting me, and just like the thing is, like I believe in relationship between men and women, but I think like men and women are have different leagues of what we want. Because like most women say like me, and men are just like I cannot listen because you're just you're speaking too loud. So like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you're painting with a very broad brush, and I understand you're speaking like from experience. It sounds like, but I really think that it's that like even modern women are not as much of a monolith as you've kind of got this idea of in your mind. I mean, I say that from my own experience. Like I don't know. I think I'm a felt relatively nice guy. I can be aggressive when I need to be, but like I don't know. I mean, I've gotten myself into a relationship, and I'm quite happy with it. And I feel like we both communicate our needs to each other very well. And I don't,
my
I don't feel
friend,
like I run into those issues.
right on my friend, I think we just like because I know you want to be a biggest sweetheart because I already said that. But the thing is, you have to understand the dynamic because like I'm a man. And just like, why should I be like protecting women who would like disvalue me? Because like I'm a good man. I'm not a horrible man with money. I'd rather be broke and be a non-subjugated woman than rather be like the most richest person on earth and subjugate all women. And just like I sent my finger and you are the like over there twerking like a bar. So you don't understand this?
Did I hear you say? I'm sorry.
No,
Brian.
please.
Did I hear
cool.
you say? Yeah, man, these women are crazy, man. They don't know. Usually, a guy like me usually won't hit them unless. And luckily, Dennison stepped in and cut you out. I think you were about to say unless they do something, that's when it's okay to knock them around.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
I never
Go ahead,
said
guys.
that.
I would say never hit a
I never
woman
said
unless
that,
she
Paul.
undresses first and asks you nicely.
Totally okay that.
No, I never said that false. Don't like this false. You could.
I
ask me
couldn't
what
even
said.
see myself hitting a woman in self-defense. Like if I got to the point where I was scared that a female was overpowering me, I probably would wrestle somebody to the ground and pin them down before I started like trying to do Queensbury rules. You know what I'm saying?
My chick last chick
No,
was
I
so
don't know. I don't
small.
know
I
what you're
used to
saying
tell
because
her,
I'm a man. I'm a man, and I specifically said as like Falcon punch. So you don't put words in my mouth.
I was clear what I said, buddy. I heard you. I was clear.
Okay,
I asked
so
you,
yeah, we
were
both
you
different. So
about
don't
to
put word in
say?
my mouth. But,
I asked you.
Hey, look, I'm not your buddy, pal.
Let's get.
I asked you, were you? You said it 6 times. You can relax, man.
yeah, okay. So don't put words in my mouth. That's all.
All right, fuck it. Or we could do the other thing where we get belligerent.
He's like, have it your way. This is Burger King, bitch.
My girl used to tell her, I could, if I woke up and you stabbed me, I don't think I'd have to hit you, man, because you're a chick and you're too small and threat. Pull a knife out and grab you up and drag you out the room or something.
So this is the thing you're talking about because like just because like I give you a gravity of like me being a gentleman, I don't need you to have an opinion unless you don't understand the gravity. Because I said Falcon Punch, literally. So like I don't trust you.
What is he saying?
I'm not
Sorry,
sure,
good job.
but I can tell you what a Falcon Punch is.
No, I said like Falcon Punch.
Yeah, what's the
Falcon.
context of the Falcon Punch? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was playing Smash Bros with my girl the other night, and I used the Falcon Punch, and
Okay, maybe.
and
it's Smash
I mean, I
Brothers.
won, but you know.
Okay, that's what.
It's
Falcon
like the
is.
male equivalent to a female of a female kicking a man in the balls.
Okay, all right.
And
I
you
got
could
it.
imagine it like the way he's saying it too. He's putting emphasis
This
on it,
is-
like Falcon Punch.
But I get
Which-
he's joking. Yeah.
That means like you're literally gonna like squat down like you're doing some kind of
All
like
right.
Saiyan superpower, like
Durkin, one of those.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And you drop down and you punch her right in the cunt.
All right.
Okay,
What's
not
your
that
name,
big
man?
Judge though. I don't want to hit a woman with a fucking punch. It's like, oh my goodness. Because
Right.
She-Hulk is just like hypothetically, if She-Hulk come up with me, like you understand, it's like Falcon Punch, and she'll be sliding upside down. Like I
get
hit
it
her.
now.
I
I
hit her
get
the
it
same way.
now.
No, hold on, no. I hit her the same way like Spider-Man though. I was like when Spider-Man hit her and she went upside down and flying away. I was like, yeah, I'll hit a woman. But the thing is, like, I love women, and the only thing is, I will only. I'm not against. Like, I'm not.
What is
I'm not
happening on my
for
screen right now?
subjugating women. But
Right.
the thing is, like, you have to understand, like, Falcon.
Hey, Geraldo Legend. I'm not sure what how to
Garuda.
pronounce your name. Garuda. I apologize if I came off strong. That was not my intent. Don't mean to be rude.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna hate you, but you understand the difference. So thank you.
Don't make me Falcon Punch you though, bro. I'm kidding.
Yeah, please. But like, I was dug at like, I'll pull out like Me Too, like not Me Too, I'll pull out like a Pokemon character, like Me Too, and then just like, haha, you want to get rinsed? So I'll pull up like
Garuda
Vegeta,
Legend,
though.
I choose you.
I'll pull up Vegeta to like Big Bang
Right.
Attack. Hold on, I'll pull up like
Falcon
Vegeta, like, Big Bang
Punch.
Attack.
What have I done? What have I done?
Y'all gonna make me Google that shit. I've never played Smash, brother.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, that's nice. It's like Big Bang Attack. It's like, wow, with two fingers. It's like, cute.
We working on
You-
our
You brought up a good example though. I was thinking like if I woke up and I was in bed and she stabbed me and she was on top of me, then I might like backhand her.
right
You know,
or
that-
snatch her. But yeah, but I don't think I'd have to actually even beat her up then, you know, and she had to ups on me. I still don't think I'd
True,
have to
but
really
I
beat
think
her up.
I might be not
Watch
thinking
her.
enough to where
Yeah.
I used more than reasonable. Like I used not excessive force, but like I skipped to the end.
Reflexive, yeah, reflexive.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask?
Like,
I guess I don't understand exactly why are we talking about what we would do in a situation where we're being stabbed? Like I guess
brought
like
that
I mean
shit
like
up.
sure like
Because
yeah,
I said
like,
I
we're
couldn't even imagine hitting a woman even in self defense because
you
they're
guys are
Oh,
talking
sure.
about
yeah. I mean
they're
there's
so
often,
easy to handle physically.
yeah there's a lot of guys who that like especially in the manosphere who are the like I guess the meme is like the equal rights equal lefts meme where they're like they're like well why like oh if you want equal rights then that means that we can fight back, right? And it's like well like don't you
Oh,
agree
I'll
that, like,
fight back.
well hang on like
Hold
don't
on,
you agree that
hold
like
on,
men are
hold
like can I finish
No,
guys?
Rand,
Let me finish. Let me finish my thought, and then Garuda. I'll let you go in a second. Like so, like we like don't we
Equal
agree,
equal
especially in the
rights.
manosphere, that like men are different than women, and like men are
Yes.
stronger than women. So like
Yeah.
I feel like in most cases, like you don't have to go like full force to fight a woman off, which is kind of what
Exactly.
you guys are saying, right? So go
my
ahead. Garuda, I'm
dream is to
sorry.
fight
Exactly.
like 5 of them at the same time. I don't really want to, but that seems fair, you know.
Yeah, I
you
want to
bounce
fight a classic
around.
kindergartners personally, but go ahead, Garuda.
Well, I say like understand like sorry like people have been in my room, but I said like I don't like to hit women, but they want to poke a bear. I don't believe in hitting women, but just like oh sweet goodness, it's just like I try to run and just like I will use the inertia of the wind and it's like I would hit you. And I'll
Okay,
make you
okay,
slide
wait,
up
wait.
and down, upside down though. I don't even have to.
I'm gonna stop you.
Dude,
Garuda.
Like, you can play it to a wall without even hitting you, woman.
I feel like every time that you say I don't want to hit a woman, but I feel like you're giving a lot. Like when you say that a bunch of times after giving the whole like girls don't want a nice guy like me. I start to wonder if maybe it's not that you're a nice guy. That I mean I don't know whether or not you're a nice guy to women or whatever. I only talk to you on my streams, but like when you say I wouldn't hit a woman, but I wouldn't hit a woman, but like over and over. You know what I mean?
Hand to hand. If a woman wants to try and like subjugate me because I'm a man, I will do it. But it's just like you have to understand. I have a fucking punch, and it's like she's not Princess Peach. Like so, yeah.
She's not
like with a
Princess
punch
Peach.
like Bowser. And she would be like,
I can't
wouldn't even kidnap her like Bowser. I just like when you're like, it's like, oh, sorry you flying away, but I have no time to deal with you. So if women want to think they're strong like men, I believe it, but I would to talk to them because I don't want to hit a woman.
I get you. One of my favorite guilty pleasures is when men hit back. And this is really good when they're on the L train and this chick smacks the shit out some dude in an 8-ball jacket and start making fun of him. He smacks her back, and I don't know. I like all of them. I like to watch them when the women,
especially when it's proportionate.
Yes, not
Sure.
And it ends it.
Yes, that type of shit. Yes, it can get bad, but yeah, whap. Well, you hit me.
I can understand like the like when people are like getting into fights or aggressing on people and they don't think there's going to be any consequences for it. There's like maybe a Schadenfreude when they kind of get what they don't see as coming to them.
Ryan? This is true, my brother Ryan. But a woman hit me, I'm like, wow, you actually made me lean back a little bit. But it's like Falcon, and then like she upside down and flying into another star system.
How many times have you been hit by a woman?
He's been imagining it for a while.
No, I hit bad women multiple times. I'm just like, wow, that's a tickle.
And what were the circumstances? Why were they hitting you?
It was like, I didn't know. I was like, whoa, I think I was like, let me stop laughing because I don't want to be disrespectful. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's like, that kind of tickle. It's like, what? Whoop! It's like boom. You hear it's like I'm just like boom. It's like oh, and all of a sudden you just like hear and you feel the energy of Earth. They're just like whoop! Lightning.
I'm looking for a bit for you.
So here's something Nakoti says in the chat. He says, I mean, if what you're doing isn't working, work on your life and yourself. Don't just say women don't want a good guy like me. What do you think about that?
Careful about. You have to really ask yourself what it is that you want, right? That's going to be at the core of whether or not what you do is successful. And I would advise men to be more comfortable by themselves and not to make changes to appease to women. Do it for yourself, if you're going to make changes. And that's the kind of thing that a good woman is attracted to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. Like when you are focused, when you have goals and you are working on fulfilling those goals and you're like living your life fruitfully in and of yourself. I mean, to be honest, like that's what a lot of women are doing right now, right? Like women, according to data, they're way more comfortable like just being single and living their lives than men seem to be. Like they're way more okay with it, but they also I mean, I guess there's a loneliness epidemic, but it's not. People like to focus on just the men side of it, but women are also are more lonely than ever. So it is that is a bigger problem. But anyway, that's
two separate threads. My brother Ryan.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
Okay, so who would be likely, like, say, like an asteroid come into Earth, right? And it's just like a ball. It's just like, I'll be like fully just like, yeah. And just like, I'm not going to let anyone, like, I don't care about these women and stuff like this. Like, I will, I know I'm going to die, but I'm going to, like, rinse the rinse the meteorite and just trying to, like, crash on it like an asteroid. I'm going to, like, rinse it and then stand on the ground and try and deflect it. What will women do to protect men?
During an impending asteroid that's going to destroy the planet? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I am saying it because I actually have the body to volley because I'm like apocalypse ready. So yes, I'm just like, huh. It's just like if I can like beat it up, it's like, oh, I'm just like, oh, and just like divert it and like fire. And like not this time we can live. So would women do that though, or they would get slapped by the trying to defect like
I don't think you can deflect an asteroid.
Ryan, I put
no,
let me see if
hold
I
on. Do
might
you
keep it
believe
on.
do you believe it's your male energy or me? Because I actually built for doing that. So like, do you think
This
your
lady-
male energy or my male energy? Because I disagree with you.
I put a link in the back to that short I was talking about,
Okay.
Ryan, and it's no actual physical shit. You don't actually see him hit the
Sure.
lady, but yeah.
I understand. I'm probably not gonna play it right now, but I hear you. I see
Okay.
it.
It's only like 30 seconds or something. And it just show what we were talking about. She just
Yeah.
keeps hitting them, poking
Yeah.
them, and shit. And then I can't tell if he hit her or anything because he moves, the camera moves, and he's like, "Lady!" And then when he spins
Yeah.
it back, she's on the ground playing victim. I thought it was great.
See, something similar to me happened to me like that, and that kind of framed my behavior because, like, my girlfriend was like nagging me. He was like right in my fucking face, you know, over my shoulder in my face,
Irritates me. Yeah.
and just like on my back, right, like telling me, you know, this, that, and the other, whoop de whoop, like you know how they do.
Sound like she was doing more than
And-
nagging. She was trying to provoke you and get a rise out of you at this point.
She was, and all I did was like lift up my hand to put it in between her face and my face,
Right.
and I didn't even do it like with intention. It was just how I normally would raise my hand,
Right.
but it was enough momentum to like push her back out through the hallway into the other room, and she like, you know, just from me raising my arm.
All right.
And I was
Right.
like, damn, that is
You just reminded me. I totally forgot. I was a kid. I was like 19, 20 or something when I had the one kid I
Why
got.
are we sharing
And her
tales
mom was a
of-
knucklehead, and I remember she was pregnant, and we're playing around,
I feel
and
so
she smacked the
uncomfortable right now.
shit out of me. And I got serious, and she was like, "Yeah, I just thought I'm pregnant, so you can't hit me back or I'll call the police." Smacks the shit out of me again. And I gave her a frog in a thigh muscle. Remember frogs from high school? I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all do that. You hit them with a knuckle in the thigh and it caused a
Yeah.
frog. And she like, I'm calling the police. So I left, and sure enough, as I'm walking home, I saw the police going back down toward her crib. She actually called them only for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna
No,
lie,
thank
I
you,
get
man.
hit in the face by a woman, and I was like, what? I'm just like, yeah, hey, yo, it's just like you do know, like if I move this way and touch you, and like I'm not gonna touch you with my hands and slap you back. I'm gonna fucking punch you out of existence.
Okay.
But it's
I
like-
feel.
Yeah, we can probably. Yeah.
I feel like maybe it would do
A topic thing.
y'all were
May
going
be
too much on here.
necessary.
Hang on, I'm gonna
He
let
was
my
about
dog
to
in.
do
Can you
the
guys not
punches,
describe
man.
any more crimes?
No more falcon punches and crimes. Maybe a subject changes due or
Well, then
something,
if we
too.
cannot talk about crimes, like women are aggressively violent though to men like me and other people.
I'll just
that's
say
no
that
better.
was the first woman I ever lived with, and I never hit her or laid a
Right.
hand on her.
Right.
But I realized
good.
how much more power I had, and that how I had to be like really focused and in control because, you know, what if I did hit her? You know, she could be dead, literally. Like, there's the power imbalance, upper body strength
Yeah.
is just too
This is
much.
why-
Well,
And that
I
means
mean,
that there's an
I always wear a
inherent
brother's shirt
that means
because
that
if a
there's
woman
an
touches me,
inherent
I'm
responsibility for me to control myself when I'm with a woman, right?
No,
Well,
it just
I
means
would
you gotta
add-
fight her and her friends at the same
Stop.
time, and then that way it's fair.
well, Denizen, I would say that inherent responsibility it doesn't end with women, right? Like you know,
Very
men
good,
kill each other with
True.
punches. Like this happens in
True,
the real
true.
world, you know. Like everyone
Yeah.
wants to glorify, like you know, like oh, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people glorify fighting, but like I mean, a good punch will like you can.
That's a
like,
good
literally
point.
ruin
Right.
someo's life, if not end it. You know,
So,
for a
I think
squabble
I got
that like
something
didn't
good
need
for
to.
you.
Hold on,
didn't
no,
need to
hold
go
on.
that
As
far.
a gentleman, as a gentleman, I don't fight women anymore because of the moment she try and like so lunge at me and just like if
Stop.
she's the
If
princess,
you
I'm just
say
like
Falcon Punch
instantly just
one more
like break her
time,
down and
bro.
just like whoop and like throw her away. Because
Falcon punch.
if a woman hit me, I'm just like, oh, nice try, and toss her to a window because I'm not gonna let women to like assault me. Because
Okay.
Okay.
like in
Okay.
the
I
sport,
think we're
Let's
good
change
on
up
this
a
when
little
one.
she
bit.
hit
I think
me,
we're
it's
good.
like
I think
Let's
we're good on this topic.
it's like oh.
Ryan,
So
I
I have to
got
defend
something
myself.
right up your
So the
alley,
thing is
and
that if I punch her
Karina,
back, I'm just like,
please
okay, go ahead, hit me, and then like
stop.
fucking
Stop. We're done. We're
punch.
done. We're done. We're done. No, I'm
uh,
putting my foot down. We're done with this topic. Okay. I don't want to. I don't want to do this. This is not.
all right,
I went
I
on to
got
talk about the fucking. I came on to talk about politics and shit. You guys are talking
yeah.
about fighting with
We'll
women.
take it to politics. I think this will help your arguments too. Felony murder. I was looking at what is his name?
Unconstitutional as fuck.
Yes, someone
But go
for the
ahead.
night. John Oliver the Knight or something. I don't know what he's called, but I was checking him out.
Yeah.
And he was throwing up some stats on the felony murder. First of all, so we all know what he's talking about, is when you get charged for murder, even though you didn't do it. You go to rob somebody and your friend kills somebody, you still get charged. He was talking about the cases where this one guy was in bed, roommate asked to borrow his car. He gives him the keys. Later on, he wakes up. And he calls, where you at? He's like, yeah, man, we finna rob these people are robbed so and so. He doesn't believe, tell him bring the car back. He does, I don't know how many years he's got. They're saying that he's apart because you gave him the keys. He was miles away in his bed, sleep, and he's got charged. And another stat that was really incredible, and this is the one that's going to help you, Ryan, was the racial disparity. When it comes to applying this justice, Hispanics are 16 or 17 times more likely to get charged with this. Black people, it was 37 or 40% more likely, some stupid. In some places like St. Louis, since the inception in 2000 or something, every person who's got charged with this was black. To the man, not one person of any other race has been charged with this crime. You should look into that felony murder and the statistics and show how one-sided it is.
Yeah.
Is that racism in your mind, or mostly racism?
It's mostly racism, which I think helps Ryan because he's always arguing with a bunch of racists, in my opinion.
Well, what do you think?
That's a good argument. Like I always argue with Flo. Citizens equal, the shits, everything's just now. Maybe they give black people more parking tickets. I argue with motherfuckers like that. I know Ryan gets it worse than I do.
I honestly don't know. Like I can't. I just know that I'm not black, and the system's had its dick in my ass my whole life. So
yeah, that's white privilege.
Sure.
Getting fucked over by the system is white privilege.
I was like, Dennis, they go forward with this. I was holding out. I was quiet. You see, I was waiting for you to say something.
Yeah, I mean, but it sounds like what we would call like systemic racism, right? Or like one tiny systemic aspect of. Well, maybe not even tiny. One larger aspect of systemic racism.
Yeah, in fact, they showed some judges and lawyers had to say about it. They are very hard, and lawmakers, they are very hard on this law. They see it as bogus too.
Does systemic racism have to be intentional?
Not necessarily.
Okay, well then I could.
Go ahead.
I could get on board with that, right? Like, so, like, if it has nothing to do with race, but one race is getting pwned more than the other ones.
Wait. I wouldn't say. Still, it falls under not intentional, but I wouldn't say it has nothing to do with race. Like, for instance, Nixon with that war on drug shit, when he put weed into the category of a narcotic. Him and Ehrlichman or something, they got the tape because he recorded everything, and he was saying, how do I get rid of these hippies, these black radicals, and these college motherfuckers on campus? And he's like, they all smoke weed. If we make weed, so that can be considered race, and the people who are applying it now don't even know. They're just, it has nothing to do with race. They just follow the law.
Did it really have to do with race, or the fact that he was trying to combat the Black Panthers, that he considered black revolutionary movements as big a problem as hippies and the anti-war protesters.
Why?
Insert here.
Well, I guess like
Joe,
why did he view them as such a big problem, and what was the
now that you
context? I
mention
mean,
about
Because
that,
they were politically opposed to him and making progress. They were
So
like
the
Yeah.
the Black Panthers
man
at one. Well, they
scary
were
black man with guns more.
Exactly.
I think-
He didn't go after the KKK. He went after.
I don't.
You know.
I don't think so. I think that what
You don't have your guns. Wait, I don't know where the fuck you live, but I think you're American. You don't have your guns though because some scary black man went into Congress one day and they changed the fucking laws. You can't have a loaded gun no more. At that time, you couldn't have it loaded in the congressional building, but you could have them in there. You could walk around with it. Then they made it where you couldn't even carry it in there no more. So that was race.
you mentioned the situation with Nixon, right?
Yeah.
The marijuana. Did
Yeah.
you read the Schaefer Commission?
Did I read it? No.
Okay, the Schaefer Commission was actually appointed by Richard Nixon. He appointed the ex-governor of Pennsylvania, Raymond P. Schaefer, to make a justified reason as to why make marijuana illegal. And Schaefer returned and said, "No, we need to make marijuana discriminalized." And Nixon, what he did with that report, which is a famous report, and you can find it in the Congressional Library, was pretty much ignored by the Nixon administration. And within the points that Schaefer made is that the provision of marijuana was going to widely affect populations that were more vulnerable to the creation and manifestation of organized crime. He did not obviously say organized crime because the term is more modern, but
we
he
understand
referred to the whole thing in that sense.
criminal element or whatever.
Yeah,
organized
and I did
criminal
see
element.
the show about
The Nixon tapes.
No, not the Nixon tape. The other one you were saying, the John Oliver
Oh yeah. The
felony murder thingy.
felony murder. Yeah.
Dude, someone riddle me this. How is it that out of all the countries that practice common law, out of the 25 nations that practice common law or mixed systems between common law and normative law, none of them have felony murder
No.
in the way that is established in the United States. And moreover, England abolished felony murder because
In
felony
the
murder is a British
50s, I
concept.
think. In the 50s, I think they
In the
abolished it.
50s, exactly.
And we still haven't
and
caught
John
up.
Oliver spoke about that. Wonderful. That show was phenomenal in that sense.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
that's something that U.S. citizens got to sit down and say, why? Why do we keep a outdated penal approach that punishes the innocent or the people? Or fine, we could say a person that may have committed robbery but did not kill anybody is being accused of somebody who was died because he was killed by somebody else who may have been doing the robbery with them. Or like the case of the kid who just left the car, stayed home, slept. He was saying a friend asked me to lend his car, and that friend went and committed a murder and a robbery, and there was a murder in that robbery. The other person who was 10 miles away, sleeping in his home, he did not participate neither on the robbery nor on the murder, and then gets sentenced for 60 years in jail.
And if
for
he
that?
doesn't admit, he's an honest guy. If he doesn't admit, I called him to get my car back, and he told me he was going to rob some people. I was like, man, quit playing, bring me my car. And I went back to bed. If he don't admit that, maybe he gets off. He's so fucking honest, he admitted that shit.
Yeah, and he gets 60 years for that? That's ridiculous.
And most of them were kids, if you remember, because kids are more impulsive. Most of them were 15, 16, 17, being sentenced as adults to 25 and years plus.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
look, this type of murder, this type of concept of murder within the penal code in the United States is as absurd as mandatory minimums.
Yeah, as opposed to case-by-case examinations. What's up, Landry?
How you doing, buddy?
You see any of that shit I sent you?
No, did you send me shit recently?
Yes, I sent you like 8 videos or something.
I
Look
think
at the,
Andrew looks really gorgeous in that
to
background
your
image, I
fucking
gotta say.
text messages.
You like Lindsay's bikini? I like it better on Andrew too.
Hold on, he's on there.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know who
shit,
the
you see a
original
lot of
image
shit.
is, but
Yeah.
I was wondering
I
when
think
my
it's pretty
phone was
funny.
vibrating. I don't ever get texts. Like nobody texts me.
Just-
I'm always on Telegram.
Just really just the last couple sentences or messages, because I changed my mind so much.
I
know we
like
were talking
that
about-
idea. I just looked at that.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, that's fucking good, dude. All right, I feel better now. It's a little bit worse. See, that's how I work though. All I need is like a little fucking nugget, and then I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm
Yes.
inspired.
I thought about that after I got off the phone. I was like, well, Landry said that he's better in second seat and all of that shit. Let me throw some ideas and see what
Yeah,
works.
it's I don't know, man. It takes a little bit of a, we
That
gotta
way,
inspire
too.
each other,
That way too, we get everybody involved with that. Everyone's involved,
and it's
which is great.
relevant to the current
Yes.
political
Yes.
landscape. Fuck yeah!
I gotta
dude.
say
How you doing,
real
man?
quick, speaking
I've
of
never
getting everyone
introduced myself to
involved, real quick, just speaking of getting everyone involved, I did set a goal for just like any color super chat for 30 minutes, and we have 4 minutes left. And I don't know what's gonna happen if we don't meet that. Maybe the panel will keep going, maybe it won't. God only knows. But I don't really want to find out, so I just want to let people know that consequences may be dire. So let's hopefully avoid that.
I just
Go ahead, carry on, guys.
jagged off my bread and went grocery shopping and shit. I
In
just
case
jagged off my bread.
sorry.
I
No,
just
no.
spent
What's
all my
that?
money
Panel lesson
moving.
thing.
What's the minimum?
Anything you want, any color.
There's no
Yeah, I
minimum
think
MMLA.
99
There's
or
no
a buck
minimum.
99. I
Oh
think.
man, that feels right. Well, here's the thing. I wanted to introduce myself. I've never introduced myself to you, Dakota. I don't want to just show
Yeah.
up and say it's nice to meet you. So
Yeah, you as well. I think you got gifted a membership the other day, so I think you actually have a membership in my
fuck
on my
yeah,
channel.
dude.
Hey, we got to put him on that list too, Landry, that I was texting you about.
Dakota,
He
in
needs to be
case
one of
that-
those people.
I have a problem, a question and conundrum.
I have
Okay,
a
I'm
problem
listening.
too. Denison, what's yours?
What if I like the stream, but I'm also racist against dash ons?
Well, I'm racist against
You can.
people,
Well, first
so-
of all, I gotta say thank you, Modern Man Lost again. Happy to have you. You said Landry. Your name's Landry, is that right?
Yes, Landry
Okay,
is
well,
my name.
Landry,
Yes.
it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and thank you for the $5 to continue.
I
this
saw you
stream.
dancing once with the dog to one of my songs, the Rob song. and
Oh,
I loved
okay.
it.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah, that sounds right.
It was pretty funny. He had his dog. He had like hanging. He's just like dancing it. That shit made my day.
That's awesome, man.
I think that's great. Someone said something about his dog. He went pick up the dog. He was like, every time you put that dog in, you're trying to divert from the conversation. He went picked up the dog and started dancing. I thought that was
Oh, I
great.
love
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
He's got
that's a
such
good
a
point.
boy.
You know, if
He's
you're losing
sleeping
the
right
debate,
now.
you might as well bring it out.
Freaking-
Well, I mean, I can't relate to that because I don't lose any debates, but I understand.
Yeah,
what
well,
you're
I don't
saying.
know. That's why I don't do
Oh,
any. But I lose in fucking real life enough. I'm not gonna lose in any.
Did you-
debate.
Did you crush Rob? I heard somebody, I think it was yesterday, saying, Rob's pretty cool, except when Coda crushed him.
Well,
Did
I
hear
mean,
that right?
the whole thing, all this Panelverse drama. I mean, there was some turmoil before, and there,
Yeah, you kind of started it though.
but really, like, yeah, the big send off was when Rob and I were supposed to debate whether or not Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act. Rob showed up, and he didn't even know the prompt. He was asking the moderators at the beginning, like, "Oh, what are we debating? Something about the Insurrection Act?" He had no idea what he was even there to argue for. Even Donald,
sensitive,
by the way.
man.
Since then, even Donald Trump has said that right now wouldn't be a good time to invoke the Insurrection Act. So hilarious that Rob is not even in line with Trump on this. But basically, we were supposed to have this argument. Him and Dusty. It was me and Dusty versus him and Trippycast. And then about 30 minutes in,
Okay.
it was about 30 minutes into the debate, and they had just put Rob and Dusty in like a 15-minute 1v1, and I was going crazy because I did so much prep for this debate. I was like I had such a detailed understanding of like why it's been invoked, what the circumstances were, like all this stuff. And then I come back after 15 minutes of being locked in the back, and I start arguing with Rob, and I interrupted him a couple of times, and he interrupted me as well, at least once, but I was definitely interrupting him more. But then he like throws a fit, and he's like, "Well, if you're gonna interrupt me, then I'm not even gonna talk." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm just
He
gonna keep
throws
going then."
So many fucking fits, man. I've been trying to just say like I'm not a Rob fan. I'm a nobody fan. I like some parts of people and I dislike other aspects of them. I was trying to go over there late and just ask him some questions about yesterday to get some clarification, but he's just like fucking, "You are a troll. I want a troll. Always a troll. You fucking idiot." And I'm like,
Yeah, it's
this is what
sensitive.
my issue was with Trippy. It's like, I know it's not his fault. It's just, it's the sense of where we get lumped in together and nobody realizes that I can have a good time and I can provoke people. I don't go IRL, but I still exist as someone who can have an authentic exchange.
Yeah, and I, I've seen that clip of you on the night like all this like went crazy. Like that clip of you on Rob's stream. Like, I mean, you were being silly, but I didn't think you were like an insane troll in that conversation. Like,
No,
like
right.
it was like none of it was like really that crazy. Like you were like if anything, he was trolling you more. Where he's like, you said something and he's like, oh, is that what you call your boyfriend or whatever? Like,
Yeah, dude.
whatever.
Like I'm like the level 1. I'm like
Right. I thought so. Right. When it came to trolling, I'm like, if that triggered
It was
him,
nothing,
and
dude.
it was barely organized. It was lame, and that triggered.
Yeah,
him.
I even said I was like, yeah, I fucking did a horrible job. I always
Yeah.
do that. If I don't think it went well, I'm like, yeah, that could have been better. And I think it's important to not just say, oh, we did great, y'all, just because it looks good and confident, and just to be just capable of saying, yeah, well, next time we'll get them. You know, it's like good
I think
sportsmanship.
most sincere people are their biggest critics. So I don't see that as a negative, man. I chew myself up over it. You know, I can have a video about you killed it, but I should have said this, and I stuttered
Yeah.
here. And it to me is damn near cringeworthy. Other people might get 50,000 views. Or something.
Joe,
No, I feel that. I mean,
I'm a self-critic, especially because since I'm speaking on a second language, after I'm done, I'm thinking to myself,
Right,
I mispronounced this fucking word.
right.
I couldn't get this
Very
idea
good.
faster enough. All the type of things. I always do that, but
Very
it's not
good, though.
to
That's a
diminish
good
myself.
thing. Don't beat
At least-
yourself too much over it, right?
Yeah,
Don't beat
exactly.
yourself up too much.
The
I
bilingual.
don't, but I recognize.
That's an important aspect I define to people who speak 2 languages. Is like it's easy to be like, oh, that person's an idiot, but it's like it's like with OTW. I thought he was just dumb. I was like, dude, this guy's a moron. But it's like, dude, this isn't his first fucking language. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
that's
is-
pretty impressive.
when I realized that, I was like, okay, that's why he's not as fluid in his written speech.
I got
I'm just gonna yell. Hang on, I gotta yell at my chat for 1 second. We're talking about Welcome to Derry. I haven't watched any of it yet, so I just want to make sure no spoilers in my chat. Okay, I'm excited to watch that show. I don't wanna hear anything,
My
all
sister's watching it.
What'd you call it?
Which show?
Welcome to Derry. It's the It with Stephen King.
Yeah, it's
they
a
got
prequel to
series
It.
now.
Yeah.
A prequel
Yeah, I have it on my
series.
list, but I haven't.
That's my
gotten to
pronoun.
watch it.
I'm it.
I got
love that for
a
you.
friend, Ryan, who does who thinks that anyone with an accent is stupid. Not only, but when he hears their accent, he immediately puts them down, especially Mexicans. He's really hard on them. And one day we would go through a drive-through, and the guy had an accent. So once he got his food, he gave it to me. What you doing, man? You was begging for this shit. I'm not gonna eat that shit. He might have spit on it, cause he had a heavy accent. He thinks anyone with an accent is like fucked up or immoral or something. It's really weird. White dude. And
Trump
it's
voter
also
mindset.
weird is that he's really well respected, you know, in the community. He does a lot of, activism and shit. But me and him are really good friends to this day. As a matter of fact, not to be too long-winded, but when I first got started in Chicago, they made a pact not to go out with me. They said it was because I might get them arrested because I was too wild, but it was because I was competition, and everybody saw it. All of this stopped talking to me once I started. In their chats, they loved me. The minute I put up a video, the second video I made went stupid viral, and they all stopped talking to me. Chuck came to Chicago. He lives in Indiana. And picked me up and started taking me out and showing me the ropes and shit, and started taking me to different cities, cop watching and all of that shit. Like, God damn it, I just said the motherfucker's name. I didn't mean to. But you know, that's the fuck who I was just talking about. All the great things he does, he's got that negative shit too.
Yeah, it's a weird negative thing. I mean, because even in the United States, you have different accents. I mean, a person from California talking to a person to New York is like they're talking a different English. Or a person from Texas talking to a person of Louisiana, it's pretty much
Yeah,
like,
those darn
I see-
Texans.
Them darn
Depends
things.
how old you are and where you're from.
Yeah, I
Meaning
mean,
the kids have different accents. Like,
Meaning
Or
there's
no
places
accent.
where you could grow up where there's no other kinds of accents or cultures or anything. And then the instances in which you do come across other cultures are not cordial.
I wonder why you threw age into it though. It say depends on how old you are. I wonder why you threw that part in there.
Because the country is a lot more populated, let's say, than integrated now than it was 40 years ago.
Oh, here we go.
imagine that in a country like mine, Costa Rica, small country, all you want, but a person from San Jose, from the capital, has a different accent in Spanish from somebody just a few kilometers north in the Heredia province or the Alajuela province.
That's
And that happens in
interesting.
Colombia, that happens in Venezuela, that happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And just to make this argument and maybe some you know how controversial I can be, but an Englishman will tell you, could tell you, not would, but an Englishman would tell you that the English being spoken in the United States is a bastardization of the language. And
No,
that
we perfected
real
it. I don't know what
English-
you're talking about.
I'm
yeah,
just saying. I'm
but he
pointing
would
it
tell
out.
you like this, and then he'd ask you for a bottle of water.
Exactly.
Nar.
No,
I'm
They-
just saying.
so they
if
can't
you-
speak
That's
English
the
anymore.
real hard R's. The Australian no.
No,
Nar.
No.
They say the American English is closer now to what original English was than the English to speak.
I love female Australian accents.
Say it
It's a
I do
thing.
too, man. But the male ones, I'm like, get lost.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
All right, I'm gonna make my exit. I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you
I
better.
like
This
your idea,
fucking
man. I'm
guy.
already in the process right now, man. Thank you for that genius concept.
Man. And let me know. I'm working on my shit right now. When you make some progress, come up with some ideas, hit me, and I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth.
Okay, I mean, we're gonna win.
All right. All right, it was lovely, Ryan. Dan, good to see you again.
Take care, Joe Cool. Always a pleasure.
Ryan, by the way, the last few panels I've seen you've been talking about human rights.
Yeah, or at least it was the most recent one was the was last night. I mean, it was only on there for like 15 minutes because Lumberjack off sent $100 to kick me for the whole night. But I think you said you had some
Damn.
input on that, so feel free.
You're that disliked?
I'm just gonna say
I've
it
raised
out
I've
loud.
raised Sarah.
Dude.
Sorry, real quick. I've raised Sarah almost
North
like
Americans
$1,000 in multiple nights, where like just like people bouncing back and forth, kicking me off and on.
You
But
don't
she,
seem that bad.
yeah, well,
He
I mean,
drives people insane, bro.
yeah, their brains just like completely combust when I'm up there. I mean, I can be like
It's
kind of
crazy.
aggressive and like I can be a little condescending maybe even, but like, I mean, I think
Back.
I think I match the energy that's given to me, to
Right.
be honest. And I think sometimes people just don't want you to give them back what they're putting out. They just want to be able to give it and
Are you
not fake it, you know?
Politically like decided? Are you?
Yeah, I'm like a staunch progressive. You know?
Okay, cool. See, that's the thing. I don't meet anyone who has that opinion very often, right? People often they in this space at least they are more like me, the fence sitting dynamic. But I'm curious to know. I mean, so who are your people who influence you right now in this climate? Like, is it the big boys, like the Destiny, or who do you look up to?
I'm gonna let Ditsa take over in just a second because I know he has something to add. But I would say I'm like a recovering Destiny fan. Like I used to watch Destiny. I watched it for a long time. I was and I was like even loosely like I debated him once or twice, and I went to his
Wow.
canvassing event and stuff.
That's cool.
Like I've been around, but I don't know. It was the recent drama at the beginning of this year. I think kind of like was the nail in the coffin for me. Kind of
Gotcha.
separating. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to dive too much into it. It was like there were like leaked sex tapes and stuff. It wasn't.
Oh god, dude.
It's a whole thing. But anyway, I kind of separated myself from the community, and it just kind of I don't know. I look at him a little bit different these days. But I mean, like I would say our politics are like. I mean, I'm definitely to his left, and that was what we would argue about and stuff. But I really I really fuck with like Kyle Kalinske these days. I really like his tweets at least. His videos are pretty good too.
Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt you, but one
please.
thing that kind of opened my eyes recently to the left-right thing is these people online, a lot of these conservative guys I see where they're very sensitive and they want everyone to get blocked and everything. I've always been kind of like I lean slightly to the right, but very slightly. But going to some of these rallies with the left-leaning people, I'm like, these people are tough, man. They're like they're intimidating. They'll fucking smack you. You know what I mean? So I feel as though it's kind of strange to me to see more and I'm more intimidated by the left than I am with these gun-toting people who are just good to cry as soon as you troll them with a fucking Pillsbury Doughboy picture. So I got to rethink my shit here in the future.
Sure, but I did so. I'm gonna give the floor to you. I know you were waiting for a minute there.
Yeah, no worry, no worry. What I really want to get on my chest is that uh, hearing North Americans talk about human rights is like having an amoeba trying to explain to you the chaos theory or the theory of relativity. I'm sorry, it has to be said. North Americans are the majority are utterly and completely ignorant on how in the last 79 years, 78 years, human rights have been applied through the international level. They're not read. They have no clue of the theory, and the fact that the issue of human rights have been already concluded. Uh, and I cite something that happened in my country, which is the Pacte de San Jose, or also known as the Inter-American Convention on Human Rights, that we developed here, and that the majority of Latin America has already ratified, which gave birth to the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. So, to be honest, the last panels I catched about human rights being talked in by Anglo Americans, it was so cringe.
Yeah.
I was laughing out loud and saying, "These people don't have the fucking clue what they're saying."
Hmm. Yeah. No,
Yeah, thanks
I
for
mean,
letting me get that out of the chest.
no, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, just from, because I mean, before I hopped on that panel, like all I did was I wasn't like well read on the UN's like human rights framework, you know, like, but I did like a cursory like glance into it, and I was like, okay, well, like they have these articles. Article 11 specifically talks about these things that we put under like welfare programs in the United States. So if we're talking about welfare being a human right, like whether or not, you know, Millennial Mike thinks it's right or wrong or whatever, like I mean, this is like internationally recognized as a human rights program, basically, like as something that supplements like what we consider human rights internationally. So like I just like that alone like feels like a like what, even if you disagree, like that should be considered a human right, right? Like I mean, you can have those arguments, I guess. I don't know why you want to argue against, like, you know, food, housing stuff being like human rights to some degree, but like
I'm going to
yeah.
give you this offer real quickly, Coder.
Yeah, go ahead.
I could give you the class I give in regard to human rights to that I've given to high school as well to entry level university. I can give you that class, so you have command over the international documents and the international theory, the judicial precedent, etc. You know, and basically, I can give that for free. I don't give a damn about getting paid to educate over those matters, because that's my work. That's what I do,
Mhm.
and you know, and the whole point of the conversation of the welfare state as a human right um, is that the welfare state is is a protector towards the functionability of those human rights,
Mhm.
particularly in matters of access to public health, access to well remunerated and well protected labor codes and jobs, as well as the necessary protections for the stepping stone of people from one class to another, especially in more you know, centered into pulling people out of the areas of you know, poverty to a middle class type of circumstance. Now, the welfare state as such is simply explained as the response to the needs of your
Mhm.
own population. So at the end is the net guard for the protection of civil and human rights.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And um like yeah, I mean, it feels like it's filling in the gaps, like where other things can't address those needs. Like yeah, that I mean, I think like it's like a guardrail. Yeah, like a
And
bottom
you
floor,
know, that
basically.
conversation, something that was missed, and you can go back into it.
Hmm.
They couldn't even describe the models of welfare state
Yeah.
and the four major ones.
What are
That's
those?
like fundamental. The Nordic, the the Nordic, the European, the Latin Americans, and the somewhat Asiatic models. The models of Scandinavia or the Nordic models are mainly or more based on the implementation of liberal constitutions that establish the obligation of the state to respond to the basic needs of people and to ensure those basic needs of the people. The Latin American has a very similar sense. I'll give you an example. For example, Article 78 of the Constitution of Mexico or Article 50 of my own Constitution in Costa Rica establish as a constitutional obligation that it's the responsibility of the state to ensure the welfare, psychological, health, economic, etc., of its own people. So it creates that condition of saying it is the ultima ratio of the government to fulfill the needs of its citizens. Then you have the British type of welfare, which is a more monarchic model, which is shared to a certain degree by Austria, Belgium, somewhat Germany, Luxembourg, models that are more that maintain the idea of that obligation of the state, but simultaneously they respond to they respond to a more a parliamentary than a congressional aspect. So parliamentary is the one who has the major responsibility in creating and pushing forward legislation that protects the diffuse interest and the diffuse rights of the people. In contrary to just deposit that in the overall sense of the three powers of the state. So it relies more on the on that congressional parliamentary necessity of policy.
Okay. Interesting. So I'm just kind of chewing on all that. Don't know if I have any good follow up. It's interesting information. I appreciate it. What are like some of the main things besides that? Like the like when you hear these conversations about human rights, like what are some like maybe like regardless of like the political structures, like what are some of like the abstract concepts that you like wish people would understand better when they're like having these conversations?
The basic fundamental is that human rights are the and okay, hold on. Because I was about to say it in Spanish. The most fundamental thing that people have to understand in regards to human rights is that they are the the globalization of the civil rights presented in constitutional republics. So if people will always tell you, well, the Declaration of Human Rights, nice, but the Declaration of Human Rights is not a binding document. It has never been ratified by anybody. It is the guidance for then the further 11 instruments that came afterwards and the facultative instruments that came along those other instruments. So if you look at the Declaration of Human Rights, it's a 30-article declaration, which the first 15 articles are what erroneously Anglo-Americans would call positive rights. And the remaining 15 is what is erroneously called as negative rights. And I have a reason to call that erroneous because
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, why would you say they're wrong to call it that? And just to be like, so when we think, my understanding of like a negative right is going to be like we're referring to something that like someone we're protecting you from having something imposed on you, and like a positive right is like something provided for you. Is that like a good basic level?
That's why it's erroneous because it's limited. We and plus it's applying a principle of common law to international law, and that is insufficient because the international law does not govern by principles of common law. It is actually guided by principles of normative law that emanate mainly from a Greco-Roman base. So when that distinction of positive and negative has no ground bearing onto it, because in the understanding of how law functions outside of the United States is that there's a subjective law or derecho subjetivo, because that's another thing. When we speak about law in Spanish or in another language, we're not saying law, we're saying derecho. And derecho is translated as right in English. And it can also be translated as law. So it's an interesting thing of linguistics there. But anyhow, the what could be translated into English as derecho subjetivo or derecho objetivo, or objective law versus subjective law.
Interesting.
Objective law is the compound of all the norms that constitute law in a jurisdictional area. So from the Constitution to the statutes to family law to contractual law, etc. All that is a objective law, and subjective law is what constitutes the limitations that is imposed via either constitutional and other laws to the exercise of the government. So you have a principle of legality, which can be resumed. And this is the thing. I'm talking to you outside of common law. I'm talking to you in the normative Greco use positive form of law that is practiced in the majority of the world. So in this principle, the principle of legality, it's a constitutional principle that tells you private private individuals can do all that which is not forbidden. Elected officials can do that, all that which is not explicitly established in the Constitution. So that principle tells you that a president or a congressman or somebody elected to a municipality or a county representative through the elected means is subjected to, they can only do what the law tells them to do. That's it. If they go away from that law, that is corruption. That is the basis of corruption. So contrary to what happens in the United States, which is a bit more convoluted. So in simple terms,
Please.
objective and subjective application of the law through the international means, and if focused in human rights, refers to what the whole network of human rights is restricting to the practice of governments, and as well as what it enables for not only an individual but the collection of individuals.
Okay. Sorry, I feel like I heard most of. I have a really hard time following. Like I think Eva vocalized as well. Monologues aren't good for my ADHD. Like I'm that way too. That's why that's probably why I didn't learn a lot of this stuff earlier. Because I was taking history classes and stuff. It would be hard for me to follow in real time.
Is subjective
and
law
this is, for
enforced
me,
by the
it's high school
authorities?
level
Sorry, Ditsa, finish your thought, and then I'll let Denizen in.
by the courts. Subjective law as well. Objective law is always enforced by the courts
Okay, that makes
through the
sense.
due process.
Denizen.
Yeah, I asked that because I was trying to put my finger on subjective law. As a category, like as opposed to objective law, like what are some real world examples of the difference? Like
Good
some
question.
examples that would fit in objective law box and some examples that would fit in subjective law box.
Okay, so objective law is the sum of all norms within a jurisdictional area. So that includes from the Constitution down to a municipal code. Everything that has been in majority
So,
ratified through the legislative means becomes that objective law.
so just by a byproduct of consensus. In other words, clearly established.
Clearly
Is that
established.
is that correct? Is that am I understanding?
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
subjective law is, in very simple terms, subjective law um, is the faculty of that norm, of that whole set of norms that either prohibits or enables an action.
So the application of the law through the courts before it becomes clearly established.
No, after it gets established. So, for example,
Uh,
to make it more simple, objective law is, for example, family codes or contractual codes, all that normative body in its entirety. Subjective law is, for example, the right of property or the right of saying, hey, you owe me money, pay up, or the what you would call free speech in the United States, or the freedom of expression, which is just a semantical way of saying free speech in that
so
sense.
it's a bit more abstract.
The more abstract.
Okay, I think I understand now. So to
Oh,
me,
sorry. Real quick before you do, Denizen, I was about to say the goal ends in 1 minute, but Not Laws comes in with the 10 Canadian dollars and says Ryan Fofian Banana Rama Fofian Fee Fi Fo Fian Ryan, which is so true. Thank you so much, Not Laws. I appreciate that so much. You are the absolute best. And again, that was Ryan Fo Ryan Banana Rama Fo Fian Fee Fi Fo Fian Ryan. No truer words have never been spoken.
Now, I want to read something real quickly, and this is from the Alabama Policy Institute. I'm sorry, in regards of positive and negative law, and you're going to see something interesting says. And I quote: "A here we go. Negative laws, and this is from common law. This rights our person freedom from certain actions by others. The government's role is to refrain from interfering." Look at the definition of negative law in common law versus subjective law, which I explained in Greco-Roman or normative law outside the United States. It's extremely similar. It is the faculty of the norm that tells you what can or cannot be done. Okay, and the definition of positive law is rights. This rights are a person's entitlement to certain actions or services from others, typically the government. See the difference between what objective law is referring to outside of the United States? We're saying, no, wait. Objective law is just everything that is the norm in a country, the law in a jurisdictional area. That's it. And subjective law is what the norm tells you that can or cannot be done, basically. But you convolute that into the United States saying, no, well, positive law is what those rights enable me to do and demand of my own government versus negative law, which is just the freedom I have to do certain actions by others. It becomes convoluted in the sense of that common law becomes insufficient to explain the functionability of norms and the faculty of those norms.
Can Can I ask? The chat's asking the same thing. I'm kind of thinking of. Can you tie this back into the welfare conversation?
Sure.
Why are these specific definitions relevant to that conversation? Like why was it? I guess communicate like why it was so frustrating listening to people like drone on and on about whether or not welfare is a human right without like having these concepts in mind.
Okay, so to tie it back down, this refers to the responsibility of, or what is a welfare state? And that welfare state can be simply put as the obligation of the government to meet the necessities of its own people, of all forms and ways, shapes, or manners. But the problem is that when you inject an ideological, nonsensical approach to it, of course, you're going to say, no, well, the government has no responsibility. Or the government should not have a responsibility. The only responsibility is of the individual. But then the question comes as to, then why the hell did you become independent from Britain if you're not going to start governing yourselves? And governing yourselves means that those who you elect once into office and the process, and they are sworn into the office, they are responsible to meet the demands and the necessities of the people they're representing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I
Fair
don't know
enough.
if I made myself clear.
I think so, but I'm sorry. I was multitasking and I kind of lost. It's my bad.
Tell me where I was.
No, I think I missed most of it. I'm so sorry.
Okay. So
I'm actually, I really
run it
apologize.
again. Run it again. How do I tie the explanations of objective
Yes.
and subjective law versus the comparison of positive and negative law and the erroneous application towards international law to the welfare state in that sense? So, again, the time back is to understand that the fundamental of governance is that you have an obligation to meet the necessities of your own people, and understanding that functions in the nationality way, in a jurisdictional way. So every one of us has that, hey, we elect you, you have to work for us type of thing. Okay, so understanding that and understanding the difference between objective and subjective law, then you understand that, and the difference of positive and negative law, you understand that common law is insufficient to explain that role of the welfare state in its entirety, and it's lacking to a certain degree. I'm not saying it's completely stupid. I'm just saying it lacks in a certain degree, and particularly on that basic understanding that we spoke of. In the event of how we have applied in Latin America, is a bit more better understood, and that ties back to the original comment I made. The benefactor state is the net guard to uphold human rights.
Okay.
Because it's the obligation of the state
Yeah.
to respect the law.
True. Okay, I think I see. Eva's saying, when you go on a panel, your argument should be crisp and concise. This isn't a school lecture. I think that to some degree that's fair. Like especially in like a more like when you hop on like a debate panel and stuff. I don't know. Like I do want to be able to, like, personally, just as someone who, like, when I do this, like, I'm often, even when I go on those panels, like, I'm trying to, like, learn and, like, further my understanding of a lot of these things. So, like, I don't mind a longer winded answer. My only issue will be if I'm trying to follow it from like beginning to end, that I sometimes lose it. But I think it's useful, like, and especially in a less like lower stakes environment, to like have to have like longer, deeper explanations of these things. So I do appreciate it. That's
Do you know who Ed Moreau was? Edward R. Moreau?
I don't think so.
He was the one who exposed Marxism, and he's the reason why McCarthy fell from grace, because he was accusing a U.S. soldier of communism, and Moreau was a journalist, one of the greatest ones in the United States in that sense. But there's a speech regarding the state of television and regards of communication that Moreau gave. And there's a famous quote that just popped into my head. Moreau said that, and actually I'm bringing up the speech right now. I want to quote it correctly. In this speech given in 1955 at the RTDNA convention, he was talking about the state of television, communication, news, etc. But he said something real wonderful. He said, "Our history will be what we make it. And if there are any historians about 50 or 100 years from now, and there should be preserved the kinescopes," and I'm quoting, "for 1 week of all three networks, they will there find recorded in black and white, or perhaps in color, evidence of decadence, escapism, and insulation from the realities of the world in which we live. I invite your attention to the television schedules of all networks between the hours of 8 and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here, you will find only fleeting and spasmodic reference to the fact that this nation is in mortal danger. There are, it is true, occasional informative programs presented in that intellectual ghetto on Sunday afternoons. But during the daily peak viewing periods, television in the main insulates us from the realities of the world in which we live. If this state of affairs continues, we may alter an advertising slogan to read, 'Look now and pay later.'" So, in the words of Edward Moreau, how do people pretend to debate in regards to politics if they only want short clips of bad faith answers or ignorant answers without any depth in regards or understanding to what they're speaking of?
Mm-hmm.
How can we advance as political beings and understand our reality if we do not take the time to understand the basis of what the hell we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Eugenics. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What the
Intellectual eugenics. Then that's an intellectual eugenics.
Yes.
You're right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like,
And-
why you
and
we
we could, these people right now, all of the systems, including the media, appeal to these people, idiots. They should just be disregarded. But then in order to do that, you'd have to put more purchasing power and voting power in the hands of the intellectuals.
Did you ever see Blazing Saddles?
Yes,
from,
sir.
Gene Wilder. You remember that scene after the sheriff goes out all happy and then he goes, "Up yours," and word, and then he comes back to the sheriff office, and there's Gene Wilder, and he says something in the line of, "Well, these are people of the land. These are the common clay of the West. Morons." Oh man, that's one of the best quotes of that movie. It is so accurate.
I think I never shared this the sentiment that like the average person's like super like dumb or whatever, or like that like so many like
Why?
Well, just I mean, definitionally, the average person is going to be of average intelligence, for one.
Do you believe in IQ?
Secondly, I mean, I don't believe in the implications of IQ that people often tout about. So that's maybe a different conversation. But I generally think that like people, they aren't always seeking like the deepest understanding of everything. Not like, or even they might oftentimes be lacking curiosity for those things, but it's not because of like some innate like failing or some like lower brain capacity for those concepts. I think oftentimes it's like, I mean, they're busy with other things. Like people spend their days like, working and taking care of their families and, you know, doing what they have to do on a day-to-day basis. And they don't
Bullshit.
have, I mean, you can call it bullshit, whatever, but it's the reality is that most people in the United States and most people around the world are just doing what they can day to day to survive, right?
I
And they're
worked
not-
80 hours a week, and it did not stop
Okay,
me from.
that has nothing like just because you are you know you're the enlightened exception to the rule, whatever. That doesn't change what the point I'm making.
No,
like, I
I'm
think-
the rule. There's no exception.
Okay, wait, what? How does that work?
A majority of people are fucking stupid. They don't have the mental capacity that you do, or that people who are smarter than you and I put together do. Human beings come in an array of intellectual capacity, just as they do like eye color, skin color, hair thickness. Every
and
little
that's what I'm
tiny.
pushing back. I don't agree. I don't agree that it's so discrete as something like not. I mean, even eye color, I guess, isn't really that discrete if you zoom in. But like I would argue that like most of these things, like you might see intelligence manifest differently in different concept or different contexts for different people. And I don't buy into the reductive view that people who are super obsessed
So,
with IQ take.
I
about
work under a
intelligence.
principle. Have you ever heard of a penal principle from criminal
Pareto?
No, induvio pro reo. Have you ever heard of that principle in the criminal systems?
Yeah.
Ryan, have you heard of that
No, I don't
principle?
think so.
Induvio pro reo.
I don't believe so.
Induvio pro reo pretty much says, in doubt, the judge always favors the imprisoned one. So when there's no clear and there's reasonable doubt of why that person was imprisoned in the first place, the judge must always be inclined towards the imprisoned person. So I apply this principle in indubio pro intelligentia, or in doubt, always approach with the assumption of intelligence until proven otherwise. So I can agree with you. Generalizations are bad, are stupid, are unnecessary, because it's a contextual. The relation between humans is a contextual one. So approach everyone under under doubt, assuming the possibility of intelligence, until proven otherwise. And most occasions, people will prove you that they're stupid, and in some occasions, people will prove to you that they're intelligent, but they also can prove to you that they're bad faith, or they're just being facetious, or etc., etc., etc. So that concept is that aspect is a contextual one. Yes, in a colloquial way, I can say, people are stupid, but of course, that is a facetious argument because it's an overgeneralization. It's a fallacy of generalization. No, people are not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are stupid, and they prove it to you by just showing it to you.
Sure. Well, I guess like this is why I was kind of holding like here. Like Eva put in the chat, like there are very intelligent people, including doctors, who are part of like QAnon and saying it's not about intelligence. I think that's a really good point. There are absolutely there are
no one very
people.
intelligent is QAnon.
Yeah,
and being a doctor doesn't make you intelligent. That's the difference between being able to discern information in your environment or memorization. It's a problem we have. We have an epidemic of doctors in this country, especially who can memorize test answers and can't think at all, and they're horrible at their jobs.
I mean, maybe I think the point, like whether it's just about doctors or like there are people in every field who believe in insane things.
It's an underestimation of what intelligent is. Most people who go to college and become scientists are midwits. They have 120 to 130 IQs. They're literally midwits.
I mean, that's like, isn't the average IQ like 100?
The average IQ is even lower. They're even dumber than the midwits.
Isn't the average IQ like definitionally 100? Isn't that like that how IQ is measured? So
yes, so they're even dumber than midwits.
I want to ask. I just saw someone in the chat. Short Stack Goblin. Dan Ditzo has a very unique prosody for Latin America. Ask him if he's nordestino. What does he mean by nordestino? If I'm from or I was educated in the United States, Yeah, I arrived in the United States at the age of 8, 9, and left when I was at the age of 16. So some part of my formative years was educated in U.S. Mid school to somewhat high school, and then I returned to Latin America and finished high school. And my superior education was in Costa Rica and Latin America. So I had the combination of both different systems of education in that sense.
So
And
I wanted to reiterate. I think Mean made a great point here, saying it's not an intelligence or IQ argument. That's a distraction. The important point of deviation was that the majority of the populace is ignorant about how to make the government benefit them. I think it's a really interesting point.
Yeah, they're ignorant, and many of them are incapable of contemplating it. They need to be told what to think because they can't think for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know how to like demonstrate that whether or not like sure people might benefit from like be more likely to ask that question if they're incentivized either by someone telling them or by other means. But like I mean I guess like I don't know like to be honest, Denizen, like when I hear people say this like talk about like most people as being as mid-witted or dumb like as you've represented it here, like when I hear people say stuff like that, I think of those people as like the lower end of that totem. Like that's kind of what I just maybe
You're
it's a
part of
gut
the
thing.
problem then.
Maybe I don't know. Like I think it's the opposite. I think you're people like you are the problem.
a great
I think
thinker.
everyone's stupid.
I don't
Like,
even.
you treat people like they're stupid. They're less likely to ever like show you.
I
they're
don't.
not,
I
you
don't
know?
treat people anyway. I don't have power. There isn't a way that I treat people at all. If
Well, I
anything,
mean,
the midwits and the dum dums are given more authority in this country. People like me are shunned, like you're doing right now. The
I mean,
average voter is a midwit and a dum dum, not like a super genius.
okay. I don't think. I mean, are you a super genius?
No, I'm what's considered gifted.
Mm-hmm. And I'm shunning you.
The-
by
my
pointing
lowest-
out that I don't vibe.
my
I don't, like,
lowest
agree with your
IQ
analysis.
score.
I'm shunning you.
Yeah, no, that because you're not the only one.
I mean,
It's
I
a
didn't push
common
you. I
reaction.
didn't kick you from the panel. I'm not silencing you.
Oh, okay.
No, you
Sorry,
you just reject my opinions out hand and think that I'm more of a part of the problem and that I'm dumber than dumb people.
Not dumber. I mean,
Hold on,
maybe closer to them than you suspect you are. But go ahead, Ditso.
I see what Shortstack was referring to. He says, "Oh no, that explains the prosody. You speak stress time, not syllable time. Are you told you got a U.S. accent in Spanish? No. Well, when I came back after for those 5-6 years I lived in the United States, yes, I did have a somewhat U.S. accent, but in Spanish I sound more like a combination of Colombian, Venezuelan, and Costarricense. So I have that combination of those three accents in Spanish, as well as, well, I did live in Mexico, but I was pretty much, when I learned to speak Spanish, it was in Mexico. So my first words in Spanish were with a Mexican accent, and that somewhat carried on to how I express my Spanish. The worst thing is the stress time that you're hearing is because when I'm thinking between Spanish, English, and Spanglish. And in occasions, French comes in, and in occasions, Portuguese comes in. So my head thinks in at least 4 to 5 different languages.
Sure.
Nice.
That makes sense. I just want to read Alexander Wren, thank you so much for $10, says, Den, you've defined intelligence as people who agree with you, and anyone who doesn't as a quote-unquote midwit. You're not gifted.
No, I
You're
haven't.
just narcissistic. Okay, go ahead. Aaron.
My therapist disagrees with you. And no, I haven't. I didn't define intelligence at all. You should really look at that. That's a lot of projection going on in that statement. So take a look in the mirror, pal.
Que hable con ustedes en español, me pide Chatter King. Bueno, con gusto, pero no sé cuánta gente me va a atender. O sea, con toda franqueza, chamo. Mae.
You're right.
O sea, no
I wouldn't be able to understand it.
Ajá. No sé, Chatter King, ¿qué quieres que te hable? ¿Algún tema en específico? ¿Quieres que expanda en algún tema intelectual o algún tema conversacional? No sé. Back to no, I
it
was just Cheddar King requested for me to speak in Spanish to
Okay.
everybody, so I did, and I asked him, "What do you want me to talk about? An intellectual subject or more a conversational one, etc., etc., etc." But yeah, my Spanish is kind of. You saw me that it's less stress timed, it's more
Yeah.
fluent,
Yeah.
and more quick.
I was just going to comment on that.
Eva says you literally did define it and categorize people based on your definition of intelligence. How do you respond?
No, I didn't.
He says no.
Go ahead and clip. Yeah, go ahead and clip that part of the stream and send it to
We'll
us.
play it if you do.
We'll have to play it because I have a good retentive, and I did not.
I alluded to
Denson
IQ
giving,
being.
any form of the.
Yeah. Sorry. What I will do is I'll like steel man that as much as I possibly could in order to avoid being disingenuous. I implied with my questions to the contrary that IQ was a somewhat reliable measure of intelligence, and I could elaborate on that for hours and hours. There's a lot of nuance there, but I did imply that. So if you want to pin that to me, even though that's not exactly what I think, I'll take it as a criticism.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree that like IQ is a metric that measures something. I find the way people use it to be, again, like reductive. Like I feel like there are plenty of people who might fall on the lower end of the IQ spectrum who are actually quite capable given the right circumstances.
Of course.
And I think people use the whole IQ thing as a way to dismiss these people outright, and I find that kind of like defeatist and also just harmful.
I agree.
Frankly.
I would just say it does measure some things, and some people are high in IQ and EQ, and both of those things matter. Do they prove all things? Are they completely objective? Does it designate the value of someone? No, and no. But they measure things. Find out what those things are, and then learn about how those things are used for human beings to adapt to their environment. And then you may see why they would be called useful and be categorized as intelligent.
Okay, well, Alexander comes back in with another $10, says, let me guess, Denizen, you feel misunderstood and attacked by those lower than you, and it's think they just aren't smart enough to see you for what you are. Perhaps you need to hear yourself speak.
Nah, I didn't say any of that. That's you. You're projecting a lot. You're just making shit up. Let me guess. Don't start anything about a stranger on the internet with "let me guess." Anything that follows after that is probably you talking about yourself in your own head.
I will say I understand. I feel like I also am getting like some of the sentiments that Alex is outlining here.
I would just say that's a you thing.
Well, maybe it is.
Maybe you feel intellectually inferior.
Well, I don't. I mean, frankly, I definitely don't. I'm pretty confident in my intelligence. I'm in multiple. I mean, both. Like, I've never taken like an IQ test or whatever, but like, I think I've I've got a computer science degree. I've worked in multiple large fields, solving problems on a day-to-day basis. Is like I've taught lots of people a lot of different things. I also have on good authority that I have pretty apt emotional intelligence. So I'm not insecure about my intelligence or anything like that. If that's kind of the implication.
You should consider measuring those things, investigating that.
I mean, maybe
actually get your EQ and your IQ
value,
tested.
like what value would I gain from doing so? Yeah, I just don't know. Like it seems like the practicalities of it are more interesting than the raw numbers.
It could correct some of that perception and projection that you got going on there, and including in the chat as well.
Maybe
that person might want to look into their own EQ and their own IQ.
Maybe I also want to thank Michelle Hunt for the $3.99 Canadian dollarinos, the super sticker with a very cute pear-shaped character wearing a bandana and blowing kisses. Absolutely adorable, very cute. Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you also, Alex.
In my case, I understand the origin of the IQ test. unfortunately did originate from the eugenic areas, and there are arguably certain parameters that, you know, don't necessarily measure intelligence, yet measure perhaps retention of information, which
The
could
opposite.
be debatable, and it's we could debate that on that sense. I'm saying it that there are indicators that what is being measured against it. In my example,
That's
when
MATs. That's SATs. That's
I-
standardized testing is measured your ability to memorize things. IQ is an attempt to step out of that box. And is it perfect? No, of course not.
course not.
Is it subjective? Yes, just like everything else on planet Earth. But it is an attempt to step away from that limitation of standardized testing. And that's the thing with like getting computer science degrees, for example, or becoming a doctor. Your ability to memorize what someone tells you is true is not the same thing as creative thinking, which is extremely rare,
Well,
or
I
the
agree.
ability to discern actual truth using your own mental facility.
Yeah, I
One
agree.
could
I agree
agree-
with that. Like, and when I bring up like, I guess I'm not trying to like say, oh, I'm super smart because I got a computer science degree or whatever. It's more so like that's why I brought up the other things like the applications and creative work that I did with that more so than just like acquiring the degree. Because I agree with you that like just being able to retain information. In fact, I myself, when it comes to like memorization, I've never been particularly strong about like reciting things like word for word, and oftentimes like when I'm like thinking about two similar concepts, I might mix up the words for them. But like I can describe the concepts really well. Like I internalize the abstractions more so than I do the particular
So-
words and stuff. But Vibe,
Let
I
me-
want
let me
to
give you
welcome.
my-
I'll let you go really quick, Ditso, but then I do want to welcome Vibe. But yeah, go ahead. And
let me just give the point of criticism of that as well. First of all, obviously, somebody of not United States, one of the major complaints is that IQ is linguistically and culturally Anglo-centric, U.S.-centric. It has a difficulty of measuring anything
Modern
outside.
IQ tests don't even have words in them for most of the test. So
But
I think this is some outdated criticism, and you're referring more to MAT, SAT type testing.
the modern day IQ tests are measured in three areas, correct?
There is a vocabulary part.
Vocabulary part,
Yeah,
and it has the mathematic part, and
which
if I'm not in, and then the third one, if I'm not incorrect, correct me if I may have mistaken that one. So it's linguistics or language, vocabulary, etc., mathematics, mainly geometry and basic advanced geometry. And the third one is basically analytical. So they present you with a XY logical problem, and you present that whatever's aspect of that logical. That's how I took it when I was about 12 years old. You know, I did get a supposed to score of 125, 100, almost 30. You know? But that was back when I was 12. I haven't taken it from that point onwards. But was I incorrect in, or am I correct in what are the three major parameters that are measured in an IQ test?
And after you answer that, I want
Yeah.
to let Vibe in. But go ahead, Denizen.
Yeah, the thing is though is that the tests are arranged in such a way so that it's not knowledge of the language being used that's more heavily weighted. That would be like vocabulary, and then more of like an MAT style scoring system. Whereas in IQ, it's about verbal comprehension and relationships. Now you will have to be able to speak English to take an IQ test in English, but you don't have to speak English to take an IQ test and do well.
Yeah,
Vibe, you can-
criticism
Vibe,
goes
you can-
into
you can-
how.
That's so sorry. I want to let Vibe in.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll shut up.
No, you're good.
No, it's a good discussion. I love the idea of IQ tests
What's up,
as
Ryan?
being probably the lowest IQ person on this panel.
So true.
But to
Have you
back
had
up,
an IQ test, Vibe?
I've had a couple. I had one when I was a child, and I had one when I was in high school. But I mean, I kind of wanted to actually back you up a little bit, Denzin, on your statement to Radical saying you should take one. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit here because I have a 21-year-old son, and I remember yelling at him when he was 18 about something he did that was stupid, right? And he responded to me. I was like, "Why would you do that? Like, were you not thinking about the future?" And he's like, "I don't know, Dad. I don't know why I did that." And I was so mad at him because he didn't. And what I didn't really realize at the time is his frontal cortex hadn't fully developed yet, and he actually didn't have the mental capacity to actually think forward. So when he was answering me, he was actually being honest with his brain capacity at that time. I don't know why I did that, Dad. Now, me, who had a fully developed frontal cortex, was like,
And some
I can see the
experience.
future, right? So I'm yelling at this man, my son, trying to get him to comprehend what I can comprehend that he actually can't comprehend. So one thing I would say to defend you, Denzin, like, why not take that test? Because what if you're just misunderstanding everybody and you don't understand that you're at a certain level or not? Like, why not understand your own mental and emotional capabilities and know where you actually fit in the scale? Because, I mean, even as a lower level of that, if you actually accept and know that, you can go, you know what, maybe I have to think about this a little bit more. Just because you're at a lower IQ doesn't mean you can't come to the same conclusion as somebody with an higher IQ. It just means you might have to think about it a little bit more. You might have to,
real
like,
quick.
it just doesn't come naturally, right? And so I think it's good for people to get the test.
Real quick, throwing IQ completely out altogether. My true contention is that people come in a wide array of the ability that you just described, and like age, experience, IQ, EQ, all of that comes into play as to what a person's capability are. We all assume everybody else is just as equally capable of thought as we are, and that is a gross misconception.
You know, I'm going to agree with you on that too, because something that I've found is I personally tend to overanalyze things, and it makes me more cautious before I jump into something. And I found people that actually don't think as much and think about the consequences sometimes succeed better than I do, because they just unintelligently leap in and they win because they don't even think about the consequences. Like, sometimes
Facts.
intelligence can actually be a hindrance, where somebody less intelligent than you will actually succeed more because they're less scared of, like, the over analyzing of everything, right?
Facts.
And so intelligence doesn't necessarily make you successful or not successful. And in some ways, I'd actually say intelligence can potentially hold you back because you overanalyze too many things.
Especially in the biggest game of all, the genetic one. You know,
Yeah.
like if procreation and copying your genes onto the next generation, smart people lose every
first thing that
time.
always comes to my mind when I think about, like, somebody who I don't know what their IQ was, right? I'm just making this up, but the guy that created the pet rock, right? And now, like, who would do that?
That is
And
awesome.
There's rumors, right, that he made millions and millions of dollars by gluing googly eyes onto rocks and selling them, right? I think that rumor was debunked, so I don't know if it's actually true or not, but it is a great story. And I killed the panel.
Oh, I thought I was googling whether the creator of the pet rock made millions of dollars. But anyway, yeah. To your point about, like, you know, like intelligence, like, kind of holding people back because they think a lot more about, like, all these different, like, I think I don't even know if, like, intelligence is, like, the factor there. I think there are, like, your tendency to overanalyze a situation or not. Like maybe you're overanalyzing might include more like better discernment about what the actual possibilities are than someone else. But I think what you're just kind of describing, like, different responses to anxiety, right? Like, some people lean into their anxiety in a way that is like lets them, like, they if, like, some people might feel anxious about whether or not they should do something, and they're just like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna find out. And I find that I've been trying to do that more myself. like letting anxiety be like a guiding force, like where you're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen
Well,
here.
don't you think
Go
that
ahead.
anxiety comes from your mind thinking too much a little bit?
Well, I was going to say the more you know, the more you have to be anxious about. Ignorance is
exactly.
bliss.
So I mean, and some people are going to
I don't know
hate
about
me
that.
for this, right? So I've done some sports, and one of the most radical sports I did is I was a skydiver, right? And I jump out of airplanes. I used to say that I just threw my shoes out of the airplane and I just happened to be in them. But I've done thousands of jumps all over the world. I was pretty good, but I wasn't that good. And I had that anxiety where, like, when I was coming in, because the really good skydivers, they would swoop. What they do is they dive their parachute to the ground, and at the last second, they'd swoop it up. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen videos where somebody's like swooping their parachute at the last minute across like water and tipping their toe across the water. Now, I never did that because I was calculating how many mistakes could happen with that, and I was scared to death to do it. And a lot of my friends that I did it with, 4 of them died. And I hate to say this, but all 4 of those friends also were not very good at math, and they were not very good at calculating, and they were not the most intelligent people. They were the smartest people. And I feel like because they didn't have the intelligence, they did it so much better than everybody else because they didn't have that fear. They didn't have that anxiety, and they didn't have that intelligence. They just went with their gut, and they're like, I'm swooping, right?
Send it.
And like I said, I know this is a horrible thing to say, but in some ways, I think some of the best athletes are the ones that aren't over analyzing everything. They just go with their gut. And not all of them are dead. Some of them are still swooping. Some of them are the best in the sport right now. And I enjoy hanging out with them, but I never saw them as the intellectual, like, hey, let's talk about politics guy. They're like, let's jump out of an airplane and see what we can swoop.
But
You gain
doesn't
another.
it also, like, being able to survive in those circumstances well and thrive in those circumstances where you're like putting yourself into situations where you have to, like, it displays like a different kind of intelligence, right? Like being able to process information quickly in real time while you're like moving your body and athletically, like engaging with all the different rules of the game that you have to play, like, and strategizing,
I will half grant you that.
Like, it's different
what
than
I would
putting.
say that
Sorry,
they have is they have a natural instinct
Right.
without thinking.
Well, I mean,
I was going to say you gain the instinct ability when you lower the volume.
The
on
brain
the
is still
analytical.
functioning, right?
Yeah,
The
but you
brain
also-
is still functioning. The brain
Yeah,
is still
exactly.
doing that, which does, like I said, I have conceded to that. The brain is doing all those operations, but they're doing it without thinking. You know what I mean?
well, but they might be doing it because they've been practicing it for so long. They've been learning it for, like, they're really well versed in. They've been doing that, engaging in that for a long time, and they've like learned how to process that information super quickly, and it becomes instinctual. But it's not. They're just like born with good. They aren't always just like born with like really good football instincts or whatever. Like they've been probably playing football since they were a kid.
It's a combination of both, right? So it is one, because I did it too, right? And I never got to that level, because my brain works a little bit different than their brain, and I thought about all the things that could go wrong, right? So I failed because of my overthinking. They succeeded, and all of us were using our brains to do these functions, right? But they succeeded because their brain wasn't going through the same process as my brain. Now, that doesn't make them less intelligent, but it does. Like I said, from what I've seen from athletes like that, they tend to worry less about everything else and just kind of run with their bodies, let their brains do what their brains do without actually questioning their brains. Where other people that might actually score higher on an IQ test start thinking about so many other things.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and I'd say it matches my my own experience, my anecdotal experience as well.
Yeah, and it's something I don't think people want to talk about, but I mean, I think it's true. But
No,
but
'cause
I
it's
don't
like-
have any evidence or proof or studies. I probably could look them up. There's probably some out there that correlate this information, but I think
It's
a lot of us
ugly
can have-
that we're different. That's why
If I
nobody
may
wants to
just
talk
kick
about it.
into that, because Bob touched into something that I was going to lead into. That this whole conversation goes into the problem of the structural way IQ tests are done, and then the problems of structural isomorphisms or architectural classes in that sense, and the way that let's be real, IQ is not directly a measure. Graphically, it's more like a concave than an actual measure in that sense.
Can I pause you for 1 second just to read super chat from? I want to thank Alexander Renigan for $10. Says, highly intelligent people are often unwilling to trust their instincts and often rendered incapacitated due to decision paralysis. Intelligent people are great at abstraction, not so good at IRL. So I think that's kind of backing up a lot of what you guys are saying, or agreeing with what a lot of you guys are saying.
That's exactly the point of the problem of archetypal type of classes, because the assertion that intelligent people are not good with decision making and they get decision paralysis is an overgeneralization, and it will also depend on factors such as the way they were brought up. What were their conditions in what type of situations they faced, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there are other factors that play into role. So the problem with that, with the IQ as a absolutist or deterministic approach towards intelligence, is that it creates these boxes that then respond to that prejudice in many ways. So I can agree with Dennis in that at the end, when IQ tests are done accordingly and they actually measure, and I'm using the word measured loosely, quote unquote.
Yeah. Estimate
the spatial as well as deductive capabilities of an individual, that those quote unquote measures or estimates are also representative into the cultural, social structures of the person taking the particular test. If we do that in that way, then yes, the estimate can be a more accurate or approaching accurate as we can.
And I would say with IQ, right, like an IQ is no measure of how you're going to be successful in whatever society you're put in, right? I'd also say that there's a barrier, or not necessarily a barrier, but kind of like this, like when a plane goes through the sound barrier, right? It starts getting really unstable before it hits the barrier. And then after it hits the barrier, it's dramatic. And then once it's past it, it gets smooth, right? And I would say IQ is a little bit like that too. And I'm going to make this number up. So this is a made up number. Let's just say 118 IQ, right? That's like approaching the sound barrier where everything starts getting shaky. You start second guessing yourself and you start like doing these things. But once you break that barrier, then all of a sudden you get to this level where you go, oh crap, like that was all ridiculousness, that I was over analyzing things. Like you pass the sound barrier, everything gets smooth again. But unfortunately, we don't have that option. I think I read this, that we're born basically with a base IQ, and we are capable through our environment of increasing or decreasing that by about 10 points. So if you're born at 100, you, based on your environment and society, you could be 90 or you could be 110, but you'll never go above 110. Like, we're born with a certain amount of problem solving capability, and there's nothing you can do to break that barrier. But we do have a plus 10 on that, right? So somebody born with a 140 can be a 130. Somebody born with a 140 can be with a 150. There is no way to break that barrier. So if you were born with 118, maybe you can break past that sound barrier a little bit and get to the logical level. But like if you're born with 100, 100 is probably the best IQ to have in the world. I mean, it is the base, is the apex of the bell curve, and it's normal and is accepted, and you probably will do better with a 100 IQ than with a 118 IQ.
But maybe your vote shouldn't count as much. What I was gonna say though is, I
None of
think
that.
that number is a lot higher than 118. And
Yeah, I made that number up. I just made it up.
yeah, I know for sure. But I think you're right. I think it exists, and I think it's around 150 or 160. And I think also,
If I'm not incorrect,
You-
it's
if
130
there's
and
a-
above. 130 and above is considered based on the criteria of IQ. 130 and above is considered highly.
Oh yeah, anything above
Ye-
130 is like really high and really. I mean, it's a
yeah,
bell
but I
curve.
think that it gets shakier though, like he was saying, and that's what he's talking about is the shakiness.
I
don't
just
think
want
you
to throw
get
out there if people support the stream and want me to take an IQ test on, like, I don't know if I can do like a real one on stream or whatever, but I would happily do something like that. We can find out just
That
how
might be
smart
fun.
and capable I am. I'll
I
even
Oh
think
do-
yeah,
you're very smart
and by the way,
capable,
Ryan,
honestly.
don't do the online IQ tests.
yeah, I know
They're
the
all
free online
scams.
ones are nothing.
They're all
Yeah.
scams, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
I
But I'm
th-
sure
I
there
th-
are
I
some
think
like
that-
reliable ones that I could identify, and of course,
Yeah.
we would fundraise for whatever it costs to get one of those done. But yeah,
I would get
The
a
10
person
point-
to come to your house and do an IQ test.
The 10-point
Oh my
swing
goodness.
also, I think, underestimates the impact of early childhood development. I think that we like there's a real gap in human capability and progress on every level, socially, economically, because we pretty much save education until much later in life, where the ages of 0 to 18 months are when you should probably be going through the college of your academic career, right? That should be when you're really given the huge, massive downloads. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no,
Um,
100%. I mean, as
yeah.
the father of 3 children, I agree. I mean, their minds are amazing from the day they're born until about 5 years old, and then their brains go to crap if you don't raise them right. And you let them consume the world. Children are just freaking amazing, and that is the most valuable time, and that's the time they're not in school, right? So you have
Yeah.
to do everything you can when they're born to start teaching them immediately.
Preschool is dope. Check it out. And homeschooling counts. Just don't be a dummy.
true.
Were you homeschooled, Ryan?
No, definitely not. But I mean, I don't have like a problem inherently with it. I think that oftentimes people lean towards it due to like a lot of like propaganda and stuff about public schools that is probably not really that well founded. But I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I would agree. I mean, and even on this IQ thing, like I went to a really good high school, public high school. The founder of Google and I were actually in the same high school, Larry
Nice.
Page. And I scored in the PSATs in the bottom 10% of my high school. And I scored in the nation at the top 99% of the nation.
Wow.
Right? So I was the dumbest guy in my high school and the smartest guy in the country.
What
It's
an
like-
amazing high school. What was it called? Is that okay to say?
Yeah, so I don't live there anymore. I grew up in Michigan. It was East Lansing High School. Larry Page's parents, his dad was a professor in computer science, and his mom was a computer science teacher. My
Wow.
dad was a professor of mechanical engineering, and my mom was an art history teacher
Wow.
at the university. And our block, by the way, and this actually really builds on what you were talking about, like the social upcoming of a child. The neighborhood I grew up in, my next door neighbor was a professor in literature. My other next door neighbor was a professor in math. The person across the street from us was a professor in philosophy. Like everybody on the block was a professor of something, right? Every house was different. Whatever house you walked into, like if you walked into the philosophy house, they had blocks that like toys that you had to build on and things like that. I was so lucky to grow up in that neighborhood, right? And I think the social construct of children growing up in neighborhoods, I wish every child could grow up in a scholastic neighborhood with parents that teach, right? Some of them were atheists, some of them were Christians, some of, like, we got every flavor. We got to taste everything before we grew up. And I know not every child gets that opportunity, but I wish every child could have that opportunity.
All my teachers were from different parts of the world too when I was growing up, you know, like they all spoke different languages and they would bring that to the academic experience.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cultural enrichment in the classroom.
So right now I have a 10-month-old, and peace to the panel. I appreciate you for letting me up. I have a 10-month-old that I'm raising right now. I got a little boy. What would you guys suggest that I do to get, to optimize my son?
Does he read?
No, at 10 months, no.
Yeah, work on it.
Well, yeah. Well, there's
Like-
that, and also reading to him. I would imagine. I mean, look, I'm no early child care expert, but I think reading to your kids is generally considered a good thing, right?
While showing them the words, though, right?
Having raised
And-
3 children,
Sure, both.
and I definitely am not the expert here, right? I have not done the psychology assessments or anything like this, but what I have found is you just expose them to as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
Take them to the lake, take them to the river, take them even at 10 months, right? Take them to the airport and watch airplanes fly over. Like, just
Or-
expose them to everything you can.
yeah.
Indeed, I appreciate it.
And due
That's right.
diligence. I'm glad to see you up here because I know you and I have had some discussions in the past. But yeah, I mean, come on. I'm so happy that you have that 10-month-old kid, and just give him as much life as you can.
Yeah, right now that's kind of what I'm currently looking at, different options to really just cultivate them the best way that I can. And I was wondering, you guys were speaking, just on the aspects of how you should raise kids. So I'm looking for some pointers. I've been using AI. I've been looking at YouTube, whatever I can to kind of, give my son an advantage, because I didn't grow up with any advantages. I'm a typical Black kid raised in the projects, went to, some of the worst schools, and then thankfully my mother, once I got into like junior high, like right below, I think like the 6th grade, moved us to a different side of town, and I got better schooling. Thank God, or thank whoever, you know what I mean? Because I'm agnostic, but just, generally speaking, thanks God, I'm just glad she did that, because it really did help. Like, it helped me a lot. It helped my understanding of life in general. It gave me better social skills, speaking with different types of people. I get better education just in general. You know what I'm saying? Just it just helped. I appreciate my mom so much for that, because when I look at my peers, that they didn't get that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So
That's
That's what makes all the difference.
So, hug that kid every morning. Make sure mom hugs that kid every morning. Make sure you discipline them also, so they know, right, that who their elders are. But make sure they're loved all the time. Just give them a different experience every day. And it doesn't have to be anything rich and extravagant, right? It literally can be camping in the backyard. Even if you're in an apartment building, you can camp in the front yard. Like, just do something fun every day with them.
Don't be afraid to tell your children that you don't know, too. Like, if they
that's-
ask you expose them to things, right? Like Vibe was talking about. This is key, in my opinion, because the human brain needs to start on its own. It needs its own inspiration, and teachers are more like guidance, right? But your kid may start to ask questions because now their brain's being, triggered by all these different experiences. Never be afraid to say you don't know, or let's think about it and come up with our own answer, or let's research it together. Because I think dogma is way worse than ignorance, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
I
it's
agree.
not so much what people don't know that's holding us back as a society. It's what people think they know, that they're for sure they know, and they're wrong about, that's really fucking us.
I may have a different perspective on this. Let me share something of my life. I was born in Costa Rica. My biological mother, I did not know who my biological father is. My biological mother was, in poverty. Before me, she had 4 kids, and she had already been having issues of child services here in Costa Rica taking away those children because of the conditions they were living in. So she gave me to adoption, me, and then a year and a half, almost 2 years afterwards, a sister that came after me. So the two of us were adopted. In my case, I was adopted by a Costa Rican mother and a Venezuelan father. By the age of 16, from the age of 0 to 16, I had already lived in 6 different countries. 8, taking into account that Venezuela and Costa Rica were my home bases. So I had lived in Argentina, Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia, United States, and then Venezuela, Costa Rica as the 2 major areas of my point of reference. So I had to learn quickly to adapt to different circumstances and to different realities. I had to learn quickly how to manage instability in my social relationships, because I would spend 4 years in a country and then we had to leave because of the work of my father, 4 to 6 years. So as soon as I was already making relationships, gone. So I had to learn with that. And not only with that, but I do give the credit to my mama and my father that they always were truthful about that I was adopted. So that enabled me to transform that. So when when Vibes is telling you those things, I think are extremely important, because I wouldn't change my life for anything, but stability like you can give your kid, and the net, the safety net that you can represent to that kid in order for that kid to grow in a safe environment is vital. But in order to do so, you have to be every single day more prepared. Because in my case, my father was a high intellectual person who never said he loved me until about 3 months before he died of Parkinson about 10 years ago. So that was the first, actually one of the last moments I ever heard him, of the fewest moments in my life, I heard him say, "I love you." And 3 months afterwards, he was dead. My mother is another story. She always tells me she loves me, etc. So I had that contrast in that aspect. But I would tell you that the best thing that you can give your kid is truth, honesty, and sincerity. Yes, with grades of good guidance, which means be strict when you need to be strict, be flexible when you need to be flexible. That's the best advice I can give you as somebody who has been adopted and knows the reality of parenthood in many ways. Because I also adopted somebody. So, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your story too. And by the way, I was in Costa Rica 6 months ago. It's a beautiful country, but I also have live in the Philippines, and it reminded me exactly like where we live in the Philippines. But beautiful country, beautiful people.
Thanks.
I'll add, I obviously I don't have any kids or anything, so I can't really speak to like the whole parenting journey, obviously. But I will say I taught like young kids math and computer science for a long time, and I would say get if you can, like as early as possible, start like letting them like flex some of those muscles, because I taught kids that were like 8 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. And once they had like the basics of like computer science stuff down, like just being able to write like simple programs, like they were doing stuff that I didn't learn how to do until I was 20 years old. And they were doing it just like just building, like, I mean, they're building Roblox games, right? But they're like just creating entire worlds and realities into existence. Just like, these are 8 years old. Like it was absolutely remarkable what these kids were capable of doing with just like a few months of like practice. So I think that stuff, especially in a world that's like so increasingly dependent on computers, and I mean, people think the AI is going to replace all coding, but I mean, who's going to? I don't think that's entirely correct, and I think that people who know the basics of those things are going to be able to use AI in ways that others just can't even conceptualize. So that's my personal advice.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of wanted to change the subject but keep the subject
Before you do, I want to read super chat again. Thank you, Alexander Rin, for another $10. You have almost personally brought me over my own. I didn't announce this, but I had a personal goal of like a $50 goal today, and Alex has already helped us meet it. So he said the last thing, and then I got a dip. Kids need a safe place to grow, learn, and discover themselves. When they are that young, they need to always know that they are safe to leap. And I think that's also very good advice. Thank you again, Alexander. But go ahead, Vibe.
Yeah, so I have my kids in public school, and I am homeschooling them as well. And I think it's really important when it comes to the AI thing, because as an employer, I actually employ people, and I actually fired half of my staff and replaced them with AI. And the AI is doing the entry job levels better, faster, and quicker than my original guys that just wrote. I mean, so Ryan, you know this, right? Coding, 90% of coding is just repetitive coding, like building objects, and everybody knows how to do that. It's something you graduate from college and you build DTOs, and that's really time consuming. AI can do that instantly. But I've already discovered in the 1 year that I've done this that I am actually now removing, because AI actually does suck. It can't actually program what you really need. It can program the redundant tasks. What I really need is smart people programming that. But what I removed was the capability for somebody to graduate from college and do that job to become a senior. I've now replaced those people with AI, and now I have nobody in my company that I can promote to be a senior, because they're not having that minimal skill. And this is actually a serious problem. And it's a problem that I'm trying to train my kids to bypass, the not be as dumb as AI and not be the type of kids that can be replaced by AI, but to be the kids that are leaders, that are above that, right? And be better than drawing a picture, writing code, and based on those type of things. I think there's a serious problem here where we can't have senior staff if we don't have people going through what we're replacing them with in AI, right? You can't become good unless you did the menial task. But when the menial task can be replaced, how do you get seniors?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because a lot of times, even whenever you go to some jobs, they say you have to be experienced, right? And if you're having AI do the remedial small things, then you'll never get anyone that's experienced if everyone is doing that, which everyone is headed that way. Like a lot of different businesses are. So yeah, I can see that as an issue.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
guess
a big issue,
I can also
right?
imagine that it could. What we might see as a shift in like what it means to be a junior engineer. Where like instead of like a junior, like, because what a senior engineer can do with AI is orchestrate like entire like multiple projects that they have like agents working on like in detail to accomplish like like really like every task that they would have a team of junior engineers doing, and also their own stuff. So I think what we might see is like junior engineers learning how to orchestrate like smaller scale things, and being able to like still learn, like ideally still learning and following like software principles, so they can use all that like, I guess scaffolding is the best word that I use for like what AI can generate really quickly. They can create all of that stuff and build all that infrastructure really quickly. But like being able to know like what you want to prompt the AI to do still requires like an understanding of what good software looks like, I think.
Yeah,
And
but
it may become more janitorial. A senior role is going to be like, how do I deal? Yeah, with I know the AI's limitations, so now it's going to become an expected part of overhead in the code. And so the people who can minimize, mitigate, and manipulate that, control that, will become the most senior.
Yeah, and to that point, right, and to what Ryan was just saying, you have to have some experience as a programmer failing first to oversee the AI. And if the AI has already taken that position, you never get the position to become that role.
Well, with the exponential growth that's happening in tech and software, including programming, you're going to have AI actually creating AI and creating program and won't need a programmer in the near future. It's coming pretty fast. So like right now, it's like, you're saying that, but in 10 years, like you're going to have AI creating AIs and programs. You know what I mean? Like that's what they say is coming, and I believe them.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't think that's true. I think I have pushed AI to its limits, and I found that it's extremely fallible. It makes mistakes constantly.
Yeah, in the present, but in 10 years, it won't be the case.
I would also add vibe that
the
when you say
processing power behind AI is so immense,
Mhm.
and if AI is creating AI, we don't
It already
have the
is,
power
by the way.
capacity to continue it. The only thing I think AI is actually maxed itself out, and the only thing that we're going to see over the next 10 years is AI integrating into like our iPhone. So instead of saying, "How do I dim my phone?" and look it up in ChatGPT and following the directions in ChatGPT, we'll just actually ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will actually do it for us, right? I think all the advancements we're going to see from AI in the next 10 years is just going to be more integration with what we already have. I don't see it actually advancing any further than it's already at.
I don't see how you can work in programming and say that. Like you have a totally misconception of what the future holds. If that's what you believe, how can you be in tech and say that? Like I don't understand. You're looking at AI right now and saying what it can potentially do in the future, but you're not factoring in the exponential growth that it's doing, that it has been doing for 100 years, or well, 50 years, I should say. You know what I mean? You got to keep factoring that
About
in.
20 years, yeah.
And hold on, Vi. You're saying that it's peaking out right now, but no expert is saying that. Anybody that's dealing with this stuff is no one. They're saying that AGI is next and all this type of stuff. So it's like I haven't heard anybody that's knowledgeable on the subject say that AI is at its peak right now.
Well, I will say
Yeah,
to Vibe's
actually,
credit,
there are a lot of experts that are saying that right now.
yeah, I will say to Vibe's credit, it is kind of like controversial about whether or not, like, I mean, there's disagreement about what the idea of AGI even looks like, or like what that even means. But also, like there definitely are experts who disagree on whether or not like AI is going to continue to grow exponentially, or whether like we're going to hit a peak in the near future. But I will say, like when you say that you like you've pushed AI to its limits, I would ask you to consider like what you've done is you've pushed it to your limits of using it, because I think a lot of people, like, this is why I think that like this whole field of like prompt engineering, like I think it really is that I think that's also where a lot of growth is going to be, in like people being able because we haven't like exhausted every possible prompt you can plug into ChatGPT, right? Like like people are going to be constantly figuring out new ways to utilize it in like creative and interesting ways that are like in and of themselves can create like groundbreaking like new steps, but also for sure like the systems are getting better, and I mean, like just looking at between like ChatGPT 4 and 5, like because I use these things like every single day, and like the hallucinations are down massively. I mean, a lot of people will deny this like, outright, but like I mean, when I'm like when I'm learning stuff, I'm constantly like researching using ChatGPT, and like when I can get quotes from articles like directly and integrate them into like my reflections and stuff. I don't know. It is jumped so far, and like ChatGPT 6 is supposed to be coming even sooner than ChatGPT 5 did, and if there's even a similar jump, that's also going to be remarkable. And last thing I'll add is that like ChatGPT just dropped their own browser, which kind of does what you were describing about the integration of like you can ask it to like agentically interact with the web page, right? So yeah, that integration is absolutely a key part of what's going to happen over the next decade. But I think like the ways that people will use that to start building new systems that, again, we can't even conceptualize right now, I think is going to be really, really fascinating. So anyway, that's my speech.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited, and I actually do embrace AI. Obviously, I got rid of some of my staff. Now we've actually come up with a new corporate policy that we need to hire one junior engineer, like you were saying. But not to oversee the AI, but to make sure that we have a new person to promote to a senior engineer, right? It's been very effective. But, I mean, I don't. I know some people have controversy about Chat GPT and Grok and all that stuff in debates. Like, I don't use that during debates, but I have. Like, I do a lot of research and I write big long essays before I go into a debate, and then I throw it into Chat GPT and I'm like, "Can you write this in my own words, but cleaner?" Because I tend to talk too much. And it does a pretty good job at that. And I don't mind doing that, right? And I'll actually say, hey, can you find these things? Because instead of me Googling 8,000 things, I can ask it one question and it'll actually Google the 8,000 things for me.
Have you ever, sorry, curiosity, have you tried using Chat GPT in a different language? Because I broke Chat GPT in Spanish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was impressed on a few days ago when I was just doing this experiment. I said to Chat GPT, "Hablas español? Do you speak Spanish?" And Chat GPT turns around and says, "Sí, hablo español." And when I'm looking at the syntax and the way it wrote it back, it's correct. Yes, that's the way you answer. So I asked her an open-ended question, which is, "Dime cuál es el grado de español." But that is the way that you would normally ask somebody, what is your level of Spanish? But without saying your. You're just saying, dime cuál es tu grado. No?
Yeah, no, and that's kind of where it's going. Like with the debates, one time I asked, because everybody's talking about like Donald Trump being a king. This is something that Ryan and I have a bet on, whether he can run for a third term. And I actually asked Chat GPT that, and he's like, well, he only ran one term and his term's already over. I'm like, no, he's actually the president now. And then Chat GPT is like, oh, I'm sorry. You're right. He is president. So if he wanted to run for a third term. So like, I can't take what it tells me as a fact because it makes mistakes.
It doesn't know anything. It's just Googling it and then giving it back to you.
Yeah. Right.
Implementation matters too, though, right? Like,
and the same thing when it comes to
AI,
programming.
it's mostly a marketing term. There's no intelligent products under the AI umbrella yet. It's a marketing term which includes a variety of different products, including robotics, and that's where you're going to notice the exponential advancement and where we have a concern, because robotics is going to advance a lot faster.
Well, robotics is going to advance really fast because of
automation is going to replace 2/3 of the workforce way before we have artificial general intelligence.
Yeah, well, it's going to be robotics integrated with AI. But one thing I also want to add is that there's products that are out that we don't have access to, but I don't know how far in the future, but eventually we will. I don't think we're taking into consideration like quantum computers, right? And quantum AI, like what is that going to look like? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, so we don't have quantum AI anywhere close in the future. However, your statement is very important because we're about 1 year away from quantum computers being able to crack every encrypted code on the market right now. And I work in the payments industry, so I handle all of your guys's credit cards. And if you guys give me your name, I can probably look up your credit card and tell you what you bought.
Is your a company physically PCI compliant?
Yeah, we're PCI level 1, service level compliant. We were the top level of compliance you can get. But my point being is I'm actually really looking at this because all cryptographic codes in the next year are looking at being able to be cracked by quantum computing. And this is a really big deal. Now, thank God my company is not actually going to be affected by that because we actually use a key source and we don't actually encrypt your credit card in the key. So it's unencryptable, but this is a big deal.
Some other applications, though, you're right. In cryptology, I just think breaking codes and stuff is going to be fascinating. It's going to be spectacular, but also doing massive formulas that we can't do right now that'll take us decades to do. As far as like curing different things, like in the medical field, like doing these calculations, doing folding proteins, like all this different stuff is coming. Is going to be way much easier, and then we're not factoring it in. Is the point that I'm making, right? So we're talking about you talking about we peaking, but I think that we're peaking over the just peeking to what it
Well,
can do.
Okay,
I think he's
think
talking
I
about the
might,
LLM garbage that we have. Is kind
yeah,
of,
I might. We were talking about two different things here, right? So we've got quantum computing, which is totally different than LLM, large language models. All they do is look at their sources and they look at the best predictable based on the information given of what they should produce.
and they're
They're
good
not
at
thinking.
guessing context compared to
They're,
other
yeah, they're just
computers.
guessing context. Now, quantum
They're
computing
trained
is
to
a whole
be
other,
bad.
whole
So
other
let's-
animal. And
one
by
at
the
a
way,
time.
AI and quantum computing are not meshing right now.
But you saying right now, but it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to. It's only a matter of time. That's what
No,
I'm
you-
saying.
you-
When
you-
these
you
things
gotta
come
just-
together, it's going to be hell or heaven.
Yeah,
Straight
but
up.
I mean, maybe I can get some back.
It's going to be like the Industrial Revolution all over
tech
again,
guy
and much
here, but-
exponentially larger.
People are really
Renaissance.
having a problem with quantum computers of telling a quantum computer to say what is 1 + 1, right?
We just
They've
met- we-
opened the
vibe.
APIs.
It just came to fruition. It haven't been around 50 years. Like we got to give it some time. You know what I mean? Like it's just now becoming a thing.
That is why it's called the singularity too, because it's going to be like slow, faster, boom, like right before you can imagine it, because of how quickly it will speed up at the very end.
Okay, so
Vibe
this
is
is
super
this is
critical.
what
I
I
don't understand why
think.
you're so
I
critical,
think-
Bob.
Sorry, can I? I'm gonna pull it back in.
Because he
I-
lives
I
in
have-
the real world. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah,
Because he
I
lives
have-
in
I
the
have a
practical world, and
Yeah.
he manages it.
Oh, so you think I'm being?
Oh my God,
too,
guys,
you think
please,
I'm being?
let-
you think?
let me-
I just want to say. So you guys think I'm
No.
being too romantic about AI and quantum?
I don't. But I see
I
his
don't-
point
I
of
don't-
view, and he's largely
Yeah,
correct. in
So,
what he's
so my
saying,
personal
right?
opinion is, as
Fuck's sake.
I consider myself a technology expert, I think I'm pretty good at it.
Sorry,
I'm 53
Ryan.
years old. I've been there. I've been in the industry since it started. Right. I do see your concerns, and when I use ChatGPT for the first time, I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking magic. This is amazing. This is so like incredibly beyond what I ever thought we could do. And then when I really started pushing it, I'm like, okay, now I see it. And by the way, I started using AI about 10 years ago. I actually was programming AI using data learning algorithms. And once I actually started pushing it, because I actually had written code to do data analytics and learning models, I realized, oh my god, it's a chick in a really good dress, but she's
Right.
got a wig on, she's got fake breasts. It's
Yeah.
not as impressive as it looks.
So aren't these things designed to get better as we use them?
Well, this goes back to the other point that I was making.
It's
I'm
more
just-
of a
hold on, I'm just asking
refinement
the
than an
question.
advancement, though,
Hold on,
Diligence.
hold on.
Is it okay if I answer?
Is that true? I'm
There-
waiting for an
there-
answer. You want to
there's
go
a-
to something else?
No, I want to answer that.
Sure.
I think it's more of a refinement than it is an advancement at this point. Because don't forget, I agree with you overall.
Yeah, okay. So I'm saying to be critical, and it's at its inception, and we're talking about you pushed it towards its max, but the idea of it is the more we use it, the more we are refining it. But it's also going to have advances too, and the advances that it's going to have, we can't even see what they
Right.
are now or how it's going to advance.
They're unknown unknowns, correct?
So at the moment, AI cannot write new code to make itself better. It only is going to write the code that it's seen me write and it's seen
Right.
Ryan write, and it's
Right.
going to build on that. Now, if it has no capability whatsoever of coming up with a new concept, it only can take on all the popular code that it sees and build code based on what we've already created.
I don't think I agree with that, because the way it works, right, is that it's doing, I mean, just at a base level, it's doing like matrix multiplication to like generate code, right? So like depending on what you're typing in, if you're conceptualizing something new and asking it to use existing abstractions to build that thing, like it can write new code, right? Like it's not copying.
Okay, so
You're still the author, though, in that
I'll
scenario.
kind of agree with you on that, because I can actually give it a concept where if it has a model, because it's a large language model, of something that can do what you're asking, even though if it's never been done, it can do that. If you ask it to do something that nobody has ever programmed or ever done before, it will fail 100% of the time.
Well, I don't agree with that either. Because
Oh yeah, you're
like,
wrong.
What do you mean? Because you could totally you could ask it to create some like weird game that no one's ever thought of before, and it can create it just fine, right? Like I don't.
But it would
understand.
use code.
It's based off of models that have already been created, right?
Right.
If you come up with a model that has never been created, never been coded, right? And this is all code, by the way. Everything that everybody writes, is 90% the same. The only thing that makes a company different is the 10% that they make different, and none of the large models can actually do that 10%. They can do the 90%, but they can't do the 10%.
Is it possible for you to describe an example or so of that? Because that seems that just feels wrong to me. Because as long as when you say you can't create a new model, if you can describe a model, and just because it's using existing constructs to build that new model, is that
I love that you're using the word model, right?
Yeah.
So you can ask the languages to build something and say, come up with a model that nobody else has ever come up with. It will fail 100%.
Oh, okay, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you.
That is what you're saying.
No, it's not. I'm not saying you prompt
You're asking it to be creative.
Let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm not asking it to be creative. I'm saying, what if you're being creative when you ask it something, right? You are asking it.
Yeah,
you are describing a new model, right? You're communicating the parameters of your new model that you've conceptualized. It can build that if you prompt it correctly if you're giving those parameters correctly, right? There's no reason
because you're the one doing the creative thinking there.
Let me answer this.
Hold on for a second.
Go ahead, guys.
Sorry, that's right there on that point. Can AI develop a new code that end result will be self-awareness of itself at this stage, at this moment?
No.
Remains
and this is the crux of the argument.
Under the base. Huh?
Go ahead, Vibe. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So the crux of the argument is Ryan's saying that
if we have A,
I'm not getting the crux of the argument.
So I'm asking him if somebody, because he's saying that the LLMs as they exist currently cannot build things that don't already exist, basically. And I'm saying if conceptualize something that.
If A, B, and C already exist, but D does not, and D is a combination of A, B, and C, then artificial intelligence can create D.
Yes.
It never existed, but it can do it because there's a basis that it can actually build D that didn't exist. Now, if we have a scenario where A, B, and C do not exist, and you ask it to build D, AI will fail 100% of the time.
So can I say something?
Yeah, I'll let you go next. But I mean, I don't even this is why I kept asking for an example, right? Because I'm not sure what that even means. If we're saying it can't invent something that is outside the existing limits of computation stuff.
It can't invent. Period.
It
can build something you invented and described, or that it has a foundation, an existing model for.
I'm gonna let due diligence go because I don't feel like my concerns are being addressed here. But go ahead, due diligence.
Yeah, I hear. I think you guys are kind of saying the same thing because Bob is acting like code already. It's going to have to use the code that already exists to ask it to try to create something out of nothing. Nothing can do that. So that's why Ryan is asking you for an example. Give me an example to where A and B doesn't exist, and you're asking it to create something, right? A and B is going to have to be there because we have numbers, we have programs, we have parameters, you know what I'm saying? So the foundation is there, and there's no concept that you can come up with to where there's no foundation is there and where you to ask it to make something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Humans can create foundations.
Well, that's the difference that I think that you and Ryan are talking about. That's what I hear. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that's what it sounds like you guys are kind of. And then here's another aspect of it, right? So if I have a concept that doesn't exist and I ask AI to create it for me, did I create it or did AI create it? Essentially, it's the same. You know what I mean? So
this was what, and I guess I understood correctly the crux of the issue. So make it simple. AI can only create as long as it has the basis to create, meaning that what has been already programmed into AI, it's its tools to then create. If it
That's
does
not
not
creation.
have those, or replication, let's use the term replication. But if it does not have the tools, then it cannot replicate or it cannot create. So if I go to an extreme, can AI create its own self-awareness?
Right now or ever?
I mean, the issue is like we don't. There's a lot of debate about what that concept even means. Like for it to have self-awareness, like
that's a whole different conversation.
Possible. I mean, like I don't.
People already think that AI is conscious, right? There are guys
they think it's thinking
out there that have AI girlfriends, right? They're convinced that this is real, and it's really good at it.
My girlfriend is real. Thank you very much.
Really good at it, but it doesn't make it true.
Exactly.
So I want you and Ryan to finish the conversation because y'all was having a good back and forth.
Yeah. Let me ask both you and Ryan in that sense, and just as a proposal, let's go for an extreme in that sense, and let's work on the model of this idea of can it develop consciousness. If
I don't think that's understanding correctly. I don't feel like that's a productive path for the conversation that we're trying to have. I think it's an interesting one, but
agree.
Go ahead, Ditso. I'll let you go, but
let me suggest then another proposition. Let's just say that we're asking AI to create a new model of economics, something that would guide us to have a better sense how to do economics. The position of Vibe is right now it can't. If it does not have the tools, it cannot create something new. It can only create in basis of what is already been programmed. Ryan's position is no, it can actually create regardless of the tool. Is that how it should be understood? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good example.
Ryan, go for it. Give us a reasoning as to how and why would you conclude that an AI can create something new regardless of the tools that it has.
Yeah, so I think the new economic model is a great example because in theory, like what I'm describing is it with a combination of AI models and human prompting, like you can create things that didn't exist before, and so you can create some sort of economic model. It like there's no reason you wouldn't be able to do this because all we're doing essentially is again like at a very large scale, like matrix multiplication, and there's no what are these limits that Vibe's assigning that are saying that like no, you can't create something entirely new because you can't fit these like it really depends on the inputs, and the inputs are being multiplied with the system, right? I mean, I'm being extremely reductive when I say that, but like why can't that resulting the result of that those inputs and the models themselves, like why can't that be something that no one's ever created before? I think it often is, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, you're defeating your own argument here in the sense that these guys are saying, why can't AI write AI code that's better, right? This is pure input from AI talking to AI. You're saying, hey, I'm smarter than AI. If I can give AI the perfect input and I can give them an example of how I want this to function, maybe it can create that. But the real question is, can AI do it on its own, not with your input, Ryan?
That's not what I would. That might be the question, but that's not what I was talking about. So, I mean, I guess that's a different thing.
Vibe conceded to that already. That with a person, you could create new things that didn't exist.
Okay, well, then
the input is where the creativity is there. The AI is a mere tool.
I guess what I would add
if you want to make an analogous question is, does the pencil draw the cartoon? Like that's the analogous question.
So
can a pencil draw a cartoon?
So I want to ask the question, right? So essentially what it sounds like to me, the question is maybe right now or in the near future, could you say AI come up with a creative economic system that hasn't existed before, and Vibe is of the opinion that it couldn't? I think Ryan would be of the opinion that it possibly could, right? We wouldn't know. Like, I think it could. I am of the opinion that it possibly could. Well, I'm like, right? Why could it not?
I think you're fooled by AI. So AI uses a large language model. What that means is it's scanning everything that we've ever thought we've done, and maybe not everything. It is limited, right? It couldn't respond so fast if it did everything. But it is basing all of our opinions.
I got you.
Its responses based off of us.
So let me give you a scenario then. So if I was to ask AI that question, and it came up with a model using our current models, right? Blending them together, mixing them, taking some things out, adding some things, and it's something new that we have never done before. Would that qualify as a new economic system?
No, yes. It would. It would be scanning everything, going, what is the majority of people think, and what is the most logical response that I should give based on the data I have, and the prescription that society is at today. Matter of fact, AI will change based on the prescriptions of society.
But so you're shifting my answer.
Real quick,
my answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's just past 5. I'm about to go take Umbreon for a walk, so I'm probably gonna log off for now. I'm gonna let you each go around and give like some closing statements on everything. But I will go back live again later tonight. I don't know if we'll still be doing open panel, probably, because I think this was a good format. This was a lot of fun. So I might just open it up again tonight, depending on what's going on. I'll let. I think due diligence was just talking, so I'll let him go first. But I'm gonna shut down for the moment at least.
Yeah, I believe that AI could take economic systems and blend them together, and it could be something new. But it seems like you're of the opinion, because it's using things that already exist, you wouldn't qualify it as a new system. You're saying that, it'll just look at what we got and do a consensus and say, capitalism is the best system. But that's not even the question. The question is something new, so it wouldn't be capitalism. It would do something and call it something else, but it would blend it with different systems, and it would be something new, is what I'm saying.
Thank you, due diligence. Vibe, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I mean, to due diligence, right? AI appears to be really smart, and I'm really impressed by it. I like it. I use it. I've seen its capabilities, and I know its limitations. There's a bigger scenario behind everything, which is it is using lots of power. We don't have enough power in the whole world to take it to the next level. It'd be great to see it go to the next level. I think it's really cool. I like using it. But ultimately, like you talked about your 10-year-old, or your 10-month-old, sorry. Mine's about to turn 10. Just focus on them. Don't worry about AI. Raise them right, be right, and follow me on Vibe on YouTube. That's it.
I'll be there. Appreciate it.
Can you put your link in the back, sir?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat after you do. I think I might have it on hand. But Ditso, do you want to go next, and then Denizen, or Ditso, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for having me once again. On the conversation of AI, I think that the terminology AI, or artificial intelligence, is a currently a misnomer. What we have is impressive, an interesting advancement that completes to a grade those fantasies of sci-fi, especially for a Asimov kid like myself. However, to the question, I have to agree more with Vive. The computational possibilities right now for AI, it's not allowed them to create something new in the context of what Ryan was given. We may arrive there, but probably in the next 50, 60, 100 years, depending on the capabilities of computational power that we have. And of course, to reach the point of HAL, for example, in 2001 Space Odyssey type of AI, I think we're 250 years away from having even remotely the beginnings of that type of AI. What we have right now is useful. However, I have to honestly say in political conversations and in political analysis or historical analysis. If I see somebody using ChatGPT, I know by a fact that they are a dumbass. Because if you're going to rely on ChatGPT to try to debunk a point, it means you have not made the effort or even the remote sense of learning the subject. And you rely on a machine that can make mistakes and has made mistakes. So, yes, AI is a very interesting tool right now, but it is also can become a clutch for people to become lazy in regards of expanding their knowledge.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, Ditso. I disagree with a lot of what you said, especially the end there about using ChatGPT as someone who uses it for learning and engaging in real time. But we can fight about that another day. Denizen, the floor is yours.
First, thanks for hosting this conversation. Ryan hosts good panels. I love coming here. And it's refreshing to be able to agree with the perspective of just about everybody on the panel today. You all have very unique and insightful perspectives. So on that note, I'd like if you all could put your links in the back there so I can connect with you. And also you can follow me at Denizen-X, which is right there in my name under my avatar.
Fantastic. Thank you, Denizen. I'm going to go ahead and kick everyone now. So appreciate you all for being here. Bye-bye. 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 And now it's just me. I want to thank everyone for watching and everyone for donating, especially Alexander Rin donated quite a bit today. I really appreciate it. Fantastic to have you here. And I think also Michelle did some super stickers as well, I believe. And Modern Man Lost Again also did $5. So thank you all. Appreciate the support. It's really encouraging, especially when we have we didn't have like huge viewership or anything today, but I still feel like it was productive, both like in terms of the conversation and financially considering the size of the stream. So I don't know, it's always super humbling and exciting to me. And encouraging to keep doing it. I will throw, I think this is Due Diligence posting, I believe that's his link in the back, so I'll throw that also. I believe this is Due Diligence, the principles. But thank you all. Like I said, I'm gonna go walk Umbreon. I'll probably go live in an hour or so again, and we'll see. It is a weird time slot, but we're gonna go live later in the evening. So I don't know. I just feel good about what we're doing here, and it's encouraging. I'm gonna keep doing it. So appreciate you all for being here. Make sure you if you stick around, leave like a comment or something. It's super helpful. I don't know that I'm not gonna rate out today, but I appreciate any comments helping us get into the algorithm more. I guess the more we're streaming, the more we're likely to pop up in people's feeds and stuff, which is really cool. And I love that we get to have these productive conversations and learn a lot, because learning is radical. Thank you guys. I will keep it up. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you very soon. Okay, bye.